Today, these teams have been waiting for the Call of Duty Mobile Challenge Finals for North America. Over the next 2 days, Status Quo, Nexus, Oris Esports, and Tribe Gaming will battle it out to see who is the best in the region and who will continue on to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. Which team will claim the title and the trophy? Let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series for today's day one of our challenge finals here in NA. My name is Glitter Explosion, and it's going to be a very exciting day of Call of Duty Mobile action. I can't wait to get into it. Of course, you know I can't do this alone. We've got to get the boys back. It's been a couple weeks, but they're ready to go because we have Infinity and Ton hanging out, preparing for day one. Brody, are you ready?
Ready is a word. Look, I say this all the time, but it always feels a bit sad when you get to the end of the season, right? You know, we've been talking about COD Mobile for a while now, and this is the final couple of days of the season, right? We've got teams from Europe over at COD Champs, so we've got teams from other regions as well, and now we get to see which teams from North America are going to be there. Big region this time around.
Yeah, with it, we've kind of been waiting for what feels like a while, Ton. This is like the last of the regions. We already got through EU. Now we're in NA. So tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, it should be super interesting. I mean, the cat might wake up very, very shortly with how exciting things are going to get. So, you know, I do apologize, Cody, for how excited things are going to get, because these games are going to be fantastic. We know how things are setting themselves up. I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but realistically, you should have a good couple of days of Call of Duty right now.
Well, if she's in your house, then I know the cat's already a fan of Call of Duty Mobile, so it will be enjoyable either way. If you guys are just joining us here, though, and you're wondering how we even got to this point in our challenge season, go back, check out everything we've done, because we had 4 weeks of action on social media, X, Insta, and Facebook. You can get all your updates over there for everything we've got going on, whether that's prior or what we've got coming up, or you can join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series to join our community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and of course, continue getting all of those updates, because after today, we've got the World Championship. Well, 2 days. After these next 2 days, we've got then the World Championship in the fall to look forward to for all of these teams across all of our regions. Lots in store throughout the rest of the year. But let's start talking about what is on the line for our teams here over the next 2 days. Okay, prize pool. It's challenge finals time, which means 7K is in the pocket of first place, Brody.
Yep, that's a lot of cheddar for the team that comes out on top of the entire thing, of course. Even getting to this point in the competition, though, earns you a little bit of dough. At least $1,000 is what the fourth place team will be walking away with. And then, of course, you can see the further up the ladder you go, the more money you will earn. And, of course, as you already said, we've got 3 spots at the COD Mobile World Championships on the line as well. So a lot more than just the money here.
I don't know if it's more heartbreaking over the money or the fact there's only one team that won't be making their way out of here to the next stage of the competition, and this will be determined really soon as we take a look at our bracket. Now, these are obviously the top 4 teams that made their way through the regular season portion of the challenge here in NA. So these are the teams that are battling it out for the title of best in the region. You can see that we've got Status Quo and Tribe up there on the first portion of the bracket, moving then down to Nexus versus Oris Esports, which also means, Tom, this is the order we'll be getting through these matches here today. And then, of course, doing the upper bracket final. There's some serious matches that are going to happen today.
Yeah, the one we kick off with, it might be the best one as well, of course. I mean, every single one of these 4 teams do deserve to be here. But I think that is a really important point you make with 3 of these teams making it champs. That is, you get to the top 4, you get into the bracket, and you may well be one of the teams that doesn't make it through. That's going to be a stinger for whoever it is. Of course, we won't find that out today. That will be tomorrow. But you got 2 days of competition to just try and get the champs and then see if you can go a step further.
Yeah, of course. That's right. Those teams on the upper bracket, if they do lose their match here today, obviously somebody has to lose. They'll drop down to that lower bracket, have one more opportunity to play tomorrow to secure a spot. But let's start talking about that first match. You mentioned it, Ton. Status Quo versus Tribe, a massive match that we're starting today off with. And Brody, ever our stats guy, millions of spreadsheets ready to go, had some stats that he wanted to show all of you at home so we can start talking about the current dominance of Status Quo.
Yeah, look, there's a little bit of an asterisk here, of course, with the setup this season. We're not looking at a round-robin format. We're looking at the GSL-style groups. And Status Quo, technically speaking, did have an easier group than the rest of the competition here, besides Horus in playoffs. But it has to be said that their competition in group stage, I mean, it basically didn't exist. You can see the massive gap that they have, especially in hardpoint. You look at a 146.50 differential in hardpoint. That means on average, they're winning games by 146 points, which is absolutely insane. Of course, then you can see that kind of same dominance across search and destroy and control again. Like, they did have an easier group than Nexus and Tribe. That is undoubtable, but it does, I think, leave Status Quo on top of the conversation here as we get into challenge finals.
Yeah, we'll take a look at those rosters as well, give everybody at home a little bit of a refresher who's going to be playing here today. But suffice to say, even just looking at those numbers, Ton, Status Quo, while they're clearly a favorite here, it's not going to be an easy competition against Tribe.
No, of course not. When you do get to this stage of the competition, you expect some big games. I kind of just wanted to touch on those stats, to be honest with you. I know you were mentioning the hardpoint one there, Brody, but 4 rounds in Search and Destroy is no joke either. That is a ridiculous stat line to come through with that kind of level across the board. These guys are coming in with some hot fun, but I think it is very apparent, though, of course, their group wasn't necessarily as hard as things maybe worked out for Tribe and Co, who have managed to get themselves to this stage, and we know that they have a lot of talent on this roster. Of course they do, but are they going to be able to step up to the plate to what is being a pretty dominant Status Quo team? And their side of things, it should result in a very good game, though.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at Tribe as well, I just think, this roster for their story, you're looking at a team that really hasn't been able to perform that well this season. A roster that's dropped maps to the likes of Hype Mobility and Hydra. They almost got reverse swept by Nexus. They've got a lot to prove, I think, in this series.
Well, the final piece of the puzzle is, of course, our picks and bans. Those are coming through right now. Brody, I know you were challenging yourself, trying to see if you could maybe guess them ahead of time. We're starting things off with our Hacienda hardpoint.
Yeah, this is actually the one that surprised me, I'll be honest. I didn't quite expect Hacienda to be in this series, if only because of the fact that I anticipated Tribe would actually get rid of it. They haven't played that well on it this season. Granted, we have, again, coming in Challenge Finals comparatively to Season 4, we've got a much smaller map pool to work with to look at these teams. But Tribe have played Hacienda hardpoint twice, and they've lost it twice. So to see it in this series in an important matchup like Status Quo is a bit of a surprise. What isn't a surprise to me looking forward in this series is to see a Tunisia and Raid. I expected those, especially the Raid, given the fact that we've seen hard vetoes in Seaside and in Arsenal from both of these two teams. So not a surprise in the first 3, or at least for Search and Destroy and Control, but that Hacienda hardpoint I think is a bit of a shock for me.
Yeah, same kind of sentiments there, to be honest with you, in the sense that, Status Quo have looked relatively decent on the map. You would expect Tribe to get raids. It's not like they went up against the top tier of competition in hardpoint either on this map in particular. So with all due respect to who is in the group, but at the same time, look, it's coming down to these final moments, and this is where you do really figure out where the best teams are, of course. And sometimes teams will step it up. They will think to themselves, okay, we made mistakes here, we made mistakes there. Have they reviewed it? It wouldn't be in there if they didn't feel confident. So realistically speaking, I don't think Tribe will be too perplexed by it at all. They will be going into this Hacienda is tried and true and tested, if you like, across the entire combo while seeing it's in there every single time. So you might as well get your reps in again, but you do have to be careful. You only can find yourself losing 2 games at this stage. And putting Hacienda in there, could it be a risk? We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, it's all coming down to this. If you guys don't know what they're talking about at home, for our 2 groups for that GSL style format, it was Status Quo or Esports that came out of Group A, and that means it was Tribe and Nexus that came out of Group B. So still lots of big names with some recognizable players on them, which means today should be a very exciting day of matches. As always, chat, we're kicking off the day with a banger matchup, so let me know your thoughts, predictions, who you think is going to be winning this one, who will move forward into that upper bracket final and get one step closer, making their way to the grand final. Will it be Status Quo or will it be Tribe Gaming, who start off their day with a win? Either way, I can't wait to see how we get to that result. I hope you guys are ready. Brody, Ton, let's get into match number 1.
Let's begin our challenge finals. For the final time now, we get to see Status Quo versus Tribe. I'm really excited for this one, Ton. We talked about kind of our expectations coming into today, what we expected kind of each series to look like. This game has potential game 5 written all over it.
I mean, it has the potential to be the grand final as well. I mean, this is kind of 2 teams that we do look at least on paper. Look, we know that Tribe haven't necessarily performed, but pressure makes diamonds, or if we wanted to quote a famous quote over the summer, pressure is for tires and not for players like this. So they come into, look, it's a different kind of description of pressure, but we'll skip over it for now. But we're coming to kind of the nitty gritty now. This is really where you need to start performing, and this is where you do see those best teams, those experienced teams, bring it as well as they can. They're not going to be able to bring it initially, as we're going to have to go into a quick restart. But Hacienda, I think as well, it should be interesting. I think, you know, we kind of have alluded to it. I was just looking through some of the actual results of how it worked out. I mean, they lost by 70 or so to Nexus, I should say, Tribe. So that's right for them to look at. Like, it's not like you're coming in and you've lost it by 5 points or something like that and sort of say, okay, well, it was one rotation. There's obviously still an issue there for them. So is this the time to figure it out? I'm not too sure, but clearly they feel happy to have it in there, or else it wouldn't be.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about Hacienda Hardpoint is I think it's the map in COD Mobile of all the maps that lends itself to very close finishes, right? So generally speaking, right, I mean, it's always just like the smallest of margins of error, right, that can definitely change the way Hacienda Hardpoints play, and that's why I think we're going to see close finishes for Tribe, despite the fact that they've lost both of their attempts on it so far this season. So again, I mean, you know, is it just a case of trying to kind of paper over the cracks, if you will, figure out where they've been going wrong and being able to close out of these games? Who knows? The flip side of this conversation as well, right, and it's an interesting talking point regarding vetoes, is Tribe have come into this series really having to veto for themselves, and I know that a lot of teams, even at this level of COD Mobile, still do that. You can tell because none of the hard vetoes for either Status Quo or Tribe are actually in this series. They've all been vetoed. You know, we kind of predicted it correctly. But still, like, you don't really know anything about Status Quo beyond your scrims. I mean, you haven't had a chance to play them. Status Quo have had maps against teams that really aren't a match for them. This is going to be the first real test for Status Quo here, folks. Tribe Gaming, though, are going to be a roster that are looking for redemption after a pretty mediocre challenge season. This is the time to get it.
Yeah, and it's really going to be a big test for both those two teams. You are right. You know, for Status Quo, have you come into this? Have you been having too much of an easy opposition? Or for Tribe, have you maybe just been coasting because your opposition you haven't seen as too much of a threat? Status Quo are definitely one of those threats. And looking towards the start here on Hacienda, very even between both these two squads. You can see the spawn's already going to be worked on for P2, which is going to be coming up in 30 seconds. Some decent time being soaked up by Status Quo and now by Tribe, who are trying to get something on the board. Status Quo back inside. Spawns belong to them for P2. It's a good start for arguably the favorites here in the Challenger Finals.
And something we want to point out right off the start here is Rihan is in the lineup for this matchup. I believe he's playing instead of Shisu, so that is an important change that Status Quo have made. Rihan played pretty well in their last matchup. Granted, though, again, how much can you take away given the fact that Status Quo did not really play that high level of a competition in those matchups? Tribe are frankly different gravies. Something to keep in mind as we move forward in towards this series. For the moment, though, Status Quo kicking off this series with the advantage. A couple of kills do come through from Tribe Gaming. That should ensure the rotation.
Yeah, nice kill feed for Tribe. Plenty falling their way as they start to set themselves up now for P2, and we are going to get to see the first money hill, so to speak, of this series and see who's going to come out on top. Right now, though, it is Tribe doing really well in the kill feed, at least. Soaking up points because of that. A couple of kills going to go Status Quo's way, though, and eventually the squeeze will start to come. They come through the front door, actually, and all of a sudden, Tribe are going to have to find a way to force their way back in up the ramp. Not able to quite get there yet, but the kill's starting to fall. The trade's coming through. It's still hotly contested. Just about for Tribe Gaming. You look like you're the ones in control, but a bit of a split spawn now starting to come through, and it is going to be Status Quo who do find a break.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there for Tribe. Zyrex played that perfectly, distracted the rest of the Tribe players, while the rest of the Status Quo roster made their way through the front of the hardpoint, and Rehan was part of that play to overwhelm. The Tribe are right back through for the back 15 here. Vague, an ever-present danger with that R9 shotgun. We'll be able to pick up a couple of gunfights. And now for Status Quo, best just leaving that kill alone, move over towards the rotation towards fences, because this hill ton is always super mixy.
Going to be the first ones there, of course. It's all about the setup. I don't think they'll be too concerned about the start. Tribe Gaming have come out, look up the blocks firing, but have they been good value for the kills that we have seen for the setup that they did have? I'm not too sure yet. Setup to have on P3, though, is a little bit more difficult to control as the push will now start to come through over the top. Washi already on 10. Looking to try and make it a couple more here, straight through the back door towards the fences, and immediately Annihilator out, Annihilator gone. A well-placed grenade coming through from Bless, so immediate usage not being able to be used effectively, but the kills coming through on the other side of things. It's a nice break from Tribe. They've got decent control here. The Status Quo aren't far away.
Hey, you got to remember as well, these spawns can kind of be janky on this hard point. So Status Quo going to be trying to attack this hill from all angles. Directs will activate, and this will split the attention of Tribe somewhat here towards this hard point. But Tribe, they are rising to the challenge. They're winning every single gunfight they could possibly want. Tribe now starting to look good off the back of this hard point. They will obtain that scrap time and give themselves a somewhat comfortable lead going in towards New. But as we know, here on Hacienda, none of these hard points really ever feel like money kills, and this next hard point will be no exception.
And thanks for Status Quo at this stage. It has been a case of getting outgunned, coming to this one very, very slowly, looking at everybody on Tribe, really putting up the numbers. You're falling behind just a little bit if you're Status Quo. Based off the back of that, I mean, it's very easy for us to be commentators and sort of say, okay, it's coming down to the kills, but when 3 in the feed just like that, make it 5 for Tribe. That has happened more often than not. And the equalizers are out now. Maybe putting the pedal down, didn't quite find it, but Annihilator is out on the other side of things as well. Status Quo trying their best, but Tribe holding it down so well so far.
Yeah. That is a big investment coming up from Tribe. That's 3 operators, and the Claw was the one that kicked it all off. 3 kills coming out there from that Claw. The Annihilator and the Equalizers didn't really amount to all that much, but it doesn't matter when what it's amounted to in the whole is Tribe getting all of this time. Now still fighting for it, though. Status Quo would continue to touch. That smoke going to give a little bit of coverage here for Ban in the situation. He was able to convert for a couple of kills. Washi will come through with the trade, but Status Quo, again, with these close spawns, should be able to hit this hill over and over again. Zyrax for the drop shot will double up, and Status Quo will be able to get that scrap time. But that rotation from fences towards that final hardpoint time was everything to Tribe. They've blown this game wide open.
Yeah, that's the difference maker across this entire first rotation. Tribe Gaming now in a commanding position. It can happen in the blink of an eye. But they just use their operators so well. The kill feed has just been looking like theirs entirely over this first foray of hills. Zyrax will find one back, but for Status Quo, it's about steadying the ship very, very quickly. Yes, you will find yourselves about 65 and rising behind. But realistically speaking, it's one decent hold from yourselves. It's a game you can find yourself back into very, very quickly. But with the way that the slaying has been going so far, that might be quite difficult.
Tribe are just in full control over this game. You talk about the slaying differential between these two teams. Blurt, Rihan, Puedas, I mean, Ban as well. Everyone really just having a really slow start of this game comparatively to what Tribe have brought to the table. We need to see something changing right about now from Status Quo. Need to see some good control. Has to start with these opening gunfights. Vague, of course, with the R9 up close and personal. We'll be able to find one. Recon with a trade. It's good enough, but you can slowly but surely see the war of attrition going down over by P2. Tribe are slowly washing away everybody from Status Quo. One last player. There goes Zyrax, and there goes the hill.
It's just far too easy for Tribe right now. If you're Status Quo, you need to step it up very, very quickly. They have the ability, we know it, and they're starting to invest in. Is this investment going to pay off this time? Raballo just sitting back and waiting for them to find the push through. Band was able to find something with the call, but Envy will do the same again. He's had great value from that weapon specifically so far. The break will start to come through, though, potentially here for Status Quo, but again, Envy there with the claw. Eventually, he will fall on his sword, but is the damage already done? Tribe still very much in and amongst it. Puedas coming in with the equalizer, can find 3, but is it for any sort of control? Tribe is still very much it.
Yeah, still trying it as well. Tribe looking to overwhelm. Vague will come through with 1. Still kills going in favor of Tribe. That's a full clean feed for Tribe. And at this point in the game, 15 seconds is like gold dust. You can't really afford to give this one away. And you're seeing kind of that desperation in the way in which Status Quo are still playing around that scrap time. They're still sending 1 or 2 players in towards it. And all of that, of course, will weaken things slightly towards the rotation. Tribe have a bit of an early investment over here. Washi is ready to go. And if he can stay silent for long enough, perhaps he can open the door for the team to make it happen. Yeah, Washi has already found 1 kill. Tribe now starting to knock at the door of New.
Oh, they are just running through them at every single given opportunity. Every time you look towards the feed, sort of thinking to yourself, you're glancing your eyes up to the top left. It is just looking like Tribe Gaming are dominating this game. The scoreline at the top middle is proving that theory. It's a 100-point difference or so. Tribe Gaming just continuing to take over. It's another big wipe coming through. Washi having a hell of a game as he so often does, but everybody on Tribe Gaming is right there with him as well. Status Quo need to find their fingers very, very quickly because things ain't working out at the moment. Tribe still in control, trying to get some control here over towards fences. But last time around on the previous rotation, the big damage was done by Tribe at P4. If you're Status Quo, you have to make this next hill count. You have to find investment, and you have to find a full 60.
It's just such a big ask. And again, you're just at that point, right, where we always talk about the leader's advantage as something of a concept in these games. A 100-point deficit kind of forces you to hit scrap time with a heavy investment. That's exactly what Status Quo have just done. It leaves them so bewildered in terms of the next rotation. Radas gives them a good look. He finds one, but no more than that. Now Vague really starting to put the hurt down over by topside as well. And all of these kills are amounting to map control for Tribe Gaming. Status Quo, this desperation time. The War Machine coming out from Blur. These have to hit.
Oh, Washi just saying losing gunfights. Predators and Ban getting something done though. Vig's going to be able to find two. The third would have been ridiculous. Blair will eventually find the breakthrough. They need this. They need every single second they can possibly find. With 33 seconds to go here over towards P4, it would still make it only a 70-point game. They can find a couple through the middle of the map, but still Tribe Gaming struggling to break through. But that one player towards the back, you can already see that's going to be Raballo. He will eventually get taken down. Status Quo coming in off the respawn. This final 15 is so important to them, but none of them are left alive. Tribe Gaming coming on through once again. And it's been the same story over and over again, Brody. The kill feed just looks so good for them.
Sometimes you have those analytical moments, right, where you talk about the fact that, you know, what has X team done wrong in these games? Let me tell you, all that Status Quo has done wrong here is they've not won the gunfights versus Tribe that have simply slapped them about the entirety of the game thus far. But it's never over until the Fat Lady sings. And with Tribe Gaming, with 34 points away from victory, Status Quo have to have a perfect hard point from here on out. They are currently in control of P1, but they've got to be careful about player number 5, Washi, making the route in behind, might be able to blow this play wide open.
And it's so hard when you are this far behind in the hard point when Tribe Gaming are in this kind of position, and then all of a sudden things starting to open up for Washi again. A ridiculous fourth shot, and that does break things wide open. Status Quo now spawning out. Tribe Gaming can just about still win it here. How on earth does he hit that one at the ban? How on earth does he hit that on the Zyrax? If he'd hit the last one, my goodness. Raballo finds a couple, may well just be putting another nail in the coffin for Status Quo. Every single second is a dagger. P2 is what's going to pop. They can't quite win it here if you're Tribe Gaming, but the job is pretty much done.
Status Quo coming into this game, they felt like they might have won out on the veto process a little bit. Tribe Gaming seem to have learned their lesson from the challenge season, come in with a bit of a faux state of disrepair. Status Quo now desperate as we move towards the final hard point. Tribe Gaming in control. All the gunfights are going in their favor. Vague looking to advance the line as well. Tribe just a few seconds away. Can anybody from Status Quo run to the hill in time? 2:49. Ban gets in for the contest. He will find a couple of kills. Blur also there. Status Quo, though, swiftly removed from the hard point and dejected in the game as Tribe Gaming proved that everything happened in the regular season was all a lie.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I don't want to say it's the kind of thing you would expect because we didn't realistically. You know, they have struggled on Hacienda throughout the entirety of the regular season, but they come into this, you are into the higher level of competition. This is when it matters. It doesn't matter how you get here. When you are here, it matters how you perform at the challenge finals. And that is a great way to kick things off. I can't wait to see this scoreboard because I think, you know, you alluded to it during it. I think, you know, as podcasters for quite some time, it was always easy to fall in that trap of being like, oh, well, they've just outslayed them. But that was like, I mean, it wasn't just it. Look, Tribe Gaming still played that very, very well, but if you are Status Quo, you just didn't win enough gunfights. There were so many different occasions where you would see Tribe just light up the kill feed. And it wasn't just like it happened once or twice and they would find a full 60 off that. It happened over and over and over again. And if you are Status Quo, that's something that you just need to be able to go 50-50 on, right? You don't need to necessarily massively outslay a team to beat them. You just need to match them and then beat them on the fundamentals. But if you are going to get battered around the map like that, it makes your life extremely, extremely difficult. And Tribe Gaming improved that. Fantastic performance from them. Usage of the operators was infinitely better as well.
Yes.
Just shooting very, very straight though, Brody, and that does help.
Yeah, I think, you know, and another thing I will say here as we go towards the stat lines is, yeah, I mean, that's a sheesh and a half right there. That everybody positive across the lineup, that's something that very rarely happens here in COD Mobile. Shout out to Washi, who almost goes double positive at the end of the game. But special shout out to Raballo, who not only was constantly providing great map positioning for the team and great map control, was also in the hard point for almost 2 minutes of time and finishes just 1 kill shy of a 40 bomb right on Status Quo's forehead. They got slapped about in that game. And, you know, I want to say as well, I think for the vast majority of that game as well, I mean, the start of the game, they felt relatively competitive, right? But I think as soon as that 50-point deficit happened at the end of the first set, they started to get in a kind of a death spiral, right? Where they were kind of almost forced to constantly invest resources into scrap time, and then they didn't have anything for the rotation. And by the time they got to the rotation, which Tribe basically have full control, they could never really put anything together as far as a concerted effort, a hit towards the hard point is concerned. Totally uncharacteristically, I think, of Status Quo. Again, I mean, expectations are kind of muted somewhat because of the fact that Status Quo had a very easy group comparatively to Tribe, but still, well, not what we expected whatsoever.
No, we definitely. I mean, coming into this, I'm thinking Status Quo are my favorites to go on to win. Like that's kind of where I was at in my head. But that is quickly being skewed, to be honest with you. I think it was, I was quickly trying to work it out whilst you were talking. I wasn't really listening to what you were saying, to be honest with you, because I was doing maths. You know what, I'm one-dimensional. It was a 54 kill outslay. That is like...
That's crazy.
It's a lot.
I think that's a record. That's got to be a record. Like, I mean, it depends
in challenge finals,
count the record as out. Yeah, exactly. You know, at this stage of the competition, in a matchup as important as this one, that is a heck of a difference between these two teams. Tribe Gaming and Status Quo. Now we move over towards Tunisia Search and Destroy. Both of these two teams have had success on this map mode combination this season thus far. Most recently, of course, Tribe with their 7-0 over Hydra. They LG'd them. Now they want to have success once again. This is a fast and furious hit straight over towards the A site. They know how to make this one work, but do they know about Vague? Vague will come through for a couple of kills. That will damage the hit somewhat, but was it worth it? You've still got numbers, and now you've got site control.
I'm now going down. You will lose another gunfight, though. T-Bang will find one onto Band. And Washi looking for the angle. And we know he's so good in these moments. He needs to find the pick. T-Bag now just starting to play the angle. Oh, it's a hit marker to come through from Washi on the other player as well. Both players very, very weak. They're going to have to chow. And Rehan does just that.
It's not over yet.
Washi falls and Status Quo start to steady the ship. That's what you need. I feel like I repeat myself so many times. When you do get bodied around in map number 1, you come into the second one to win an attack on Tunisia straight out the gate will just ease those nerves by some amount, I would say. Good start for Status Quo. They just about get it.
Yeah, you know the key to victory here on this map on offense is just to kind of flood these sites as quickly as humanly possible and kind of deal with the aftermath after the fact. Once again, the exact same situation here for Status Quo as they look to overwhelm on B this time around. Good dealing with the flag, but no, they do not win the fight. Vega's going to get it done for Tribe, and all of a sudden, what was an advantageous spot is now an extremely disadvantageous one. Blur and Zyrax split up in the situation. Blur will find one somewhat more manageable, but again, the fact these players are split is the biggest problem here.
And they're absolutely not expecting Zyrax to be behind them with the bomb either. Blur is going to find one. Yeah, Envy will have no clue right now. Gets out of the site, that's no problem whatsoever. But that bomb will go down very, very quickly, so the information not necessarily needed onto Zyrax. He will somewhat just ghosting towards the site. Envy checking the other side. Sorry, mate, it's down at B. He has the potential to do this, though. We know what kind of player this man is. Let's see if we can deal with the Tundra. Difficult position. Need to catch one off guard and then smoke the next. It's not easy.
Anyone's going to do it with the sniper, it's Envy. Currently sitting on a donut. He wants to make that couple of kills in this round. 19 seconds. You're going to have to make this one happen pretty fast. You've got so many different angles to check in this scenario, and that droppers, of course, is going to let Blur know exactly where to look, and Envy is dead to rights. Well played. Retake for Status Quo there onto the site, but still, that was a really disjointed round from both sides. A lot of individual plays that I think they're not going to get away with further down the competition.
Status Quo, though, played that post plant very well. Not giving any information respecting the fact that...
Hello?
Yes, yeah, you know what, I didn't want to allude to it, but... Saving the big guns for later on. Washi, Big Sean, the Zyrax, and that might just steady the ship for Tribe this time around. Rapala will find another. So advantage, I should say, over towards the side of Tribe. 5 versus 3 in their favor. Status Quo not in the best of positions here. No bomb to their hand either. And yeah, tough one to win from here, you would think, as Envy will find another now here. 5 versus 2.
I suppose the only hope you're looking for here if you're Status Quo is you've got to play this one together as much as humanly possible, and you've got to hope that Tribe put themselves in a position where they kind of slip up somewhat. I don't necessarily think they know the bomb is down. Guedas is going to try and get it and get the hell out of Dodge. So step number 1 of that plan is done. Step number 2 is try and survive, and Teabag's not going to let that one happen. Almost snaps onto the second there, but Guedas ends up going down to Rehan regardless. And Tribe Gaming able to trade things out here. They're on the board.
That was needed. It's not like too many rounds on the attacking side. Things get a little bit scary. I feel as if the seasons went on, though, as Tunisia has just went on as a map in COD Mobile. Teams are getting better at it. Especially at the top end here in North America. Either that or they're getting worse at defending, but look at this, aggressive push coming out from Teabag. He will find the second, did have some help, no doubt about it. But they will find another first blood and put themselves in control once again. That is bomb down. Rabalo will have. This is a Tribe Gaming round if I've ever seen one.
It definitely should be. This has been a stellar adaptation coming out from Tribe. Rehan left up, isolated. He's going to get shut down. And yeah, what a good read coming out from Tribe. As soon as they get the information that, hey, Status Quo are hitting that site, we're going to just go straight in a winery and try and win the fight before Status Quo even have a chance to look at the site. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but you know what? Sometimes it just happens. Tribe Gaming able to now put 2 rounds on the bounce here. Great response from them. Now we're seeing very different look from Status Quo through the middle of the map. It'll give them a couple of options as to where they want to take this bomb. And Tribe don't actually have anybody looking at it just yet. Rabalo is actually more preoccupied with the middle cut towards A. So Status Quo here still actually haven't been found out. But you've got to imagine with the fact that nobody's hit A or B, probably have a little bit of an inkling as to what's going on.
So instead, he maybe does win the race here. Waiting for an angle. Either one of these two teams starting to come here now for Band as Tribe have started to rotate back over towards this position. Rabalo is here to shut it down if it does come through. Big gunfight. Doesn't find the kill, but neither does Band. He'll back on down. B hit's looking like it has more potential here for Status Quo, but they're going to find a pick. They're not going to find it on Washi. He finds first blood.
Big first blood. Good trade coming out from Band, though. This will make Tribe rethink this round, and you can see that with the arrows there completely magnetized towards the middle of the map. That's going to add heat to Puedas and Band here. They have to win this fight. There's the one from the former, and now, of course, Tribe. I mean, they completely relocated away from the B site. Status Quo have a free bomb plant here.
Taking their time, which will give, ultimately, Tribe more time. Vig might have seen Blur there. I think he did. And when you have the R9 in that position, it means you are dead. And so is Zyrax. My goodness me. Envy finds another on the other side. Washi cleans it up. Tribe Gaming wipes Status Quo off the map.
That's bad. I'll be honest, that is not good. To let they get in that position, to not be watching that angle is a huge slip up from Status Quo, considering you have full site control. You have numbers in that situation. There's no universe in Infinite Multiverse in which you should be letting that happening at this stage of the competition. And here's a very quick reaction once again coming out from Tribe. Similar look from that previous defensive effort. Aggression straight towards A to stop any of the vigor we expected to see from Status Quo. And would you believe it? It's worked.
Oh, starting to get aggressive here if you're Vega as well. He's feeling it right now. Pushes through. Didn't know the other one was in the corner, but still snaps onto Blair. And Paredes, you want some as well, do you, Paredes? Thank you very much. Envy getting maybe a little bit too aggressive. Never mind. Teabag finds one. Envy finds the other. It was a slow start for Tribe Gaming on their defensive side, but my goodness, a rubber stamp towards the end. 4-2. After 6 rounds, now they go over towards the attacking side, but they will take that all day long.
Again, it's that same strategy from Tribe Gaming there. Now something different from Tribe here. Straight towards B they go, and all they've got to deal with is Blur. But will even that be too much to handle? Blur has a hell of a job to do at the back of this site, and that smoke just completely covers everything. Nice nade over the top, though, from Puedas will slow down Tribe. They haven't dealt with the players towards the back line. That has bought enough time for the rest of the roster to make their way over.
Next couple of kills are massive. Vig moves his way out. Knows there's going to be players every. How on earth has he found that second on the Blur? Probably knew the trade would come, but it breaks it open just ever so slightly. Eases that pressure. It's now a 3 versus 2 in favor of Tribe, and that bomb is down. It's going to be a double hit coming from Status Quo over towards the backside. The information is surely there for Tribe now. They should know. The push coming through. My goodness me, Washi. Zyrax will find one back, but surely he's dead to rights. The second shot comes through. It's this quick scope coming through once again from Washi. 5-2 now.
Yeah, I got to give Status Quo some props there because they almost made that retake work, right? The fact that they obviously got the nade over the top gave them a chance to get back in towards the site, but still, Tribe are too hot to handle at the moment. They're feeling themselves. Vague, with 10 kills to his name, has been paramount to so many of these plays. And look at this reaction coming out from Status Quo as we get towards this round. Zyrax wants to do exactly what Tribe are doing to them on the defense. Getting aggressive for them on the map will draw that first blood. And that's going to slow down Tribe somewhat here in the situation. Give Status Quo a chance to spread their forces a little bit more evenly between the two sites without disadvantaging themselves too much. Now things will slow to a snail's pace here. Tribe still set on this B plant.
See a 3-man stack for Status Quo over towards A. So if you did convert everybody over towards the side, you would have the number advantage. Mind you, we can see exactly where everybody is, and that would very much help the teams if they knew that too. But here we are, irrelevant of that. The push comes through from Big. This time it doesn't work. But as we'll find it, and that will probably push any doubts that you had about the push over towards B right to the forefront of your mind, because now all of a sudden you don't have that tip of the spear. But what you do have is Teabag in not too bad of a position over towards A. Can he be the one to open things up? But Rehan has also got himself a fantastic spot. And there's the kill. Envy will fall. That should be the round. Teabag's there to clean things up. 4 versus 2.
I don't know just yet, because Teabag is in towards the site, so still an opportunity. And yeah, I think Teabag needed to find a little bit more value in that situation. Washi, phenomenal sniper.
I've seen him do it.
Never count him out in these situations. He's going to get the bomb down. This is going to draw Status Quo towards the site. They're looking for some shots through the wall. Maybe an exit frag. You've just spotted out Washi, and surely the opportunity here is to just overwhelm him in this situation. He's going to hold the angle. There's the Chow coming through. The R9's going to beat out the sniper rifle in the situation. The Tundra's pretty good. It's not going to beat out the R9.
Yeah, well done from Status Quo. Just remain very, very patient. Tribe trying to make something happen with the push from Vague over towards back B. Didn't work out this time around, so Tribe Gaming, their lead is reduced. Start from Status Quo over on the defensive side. Can they keep this one up though? As an aggressive push through the middle of the map, they will find another first blood through Band. They'll take down Washi through the wall. And now what's the play here for Tribe? It feels like when they don't get the first blood, they stunt just a little bit.
Status Quo just looking for a way to press that advantage, right? Again, somewhat different look this time around. Information here for Teabag, but Blur's going to win it out. Big gunfight there for Blur. Tribe Gaming look like they're stopped dead in their tracks. Zyrax able to find even more value now, and he's looking to press that advantage as well. In from behind enemy lines. Tribe looking to push the line through towards the B site here. Blur not hitting all of the shots he would want. Envy will trade things out now, so an opportunity here for the last 2 players on Tribe.
And why are we challenging these kind of gunfights, making it difficult? Rapallo needed to find Puertas though here over towards the back. Envy.
No way.
Looking for his third, does find it. 1 versus 2. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. Expect the push to come through. Zyrax will find him though.
It's not over yet.
The Twitch fiber is not quite twitching quick enough. 5-4 now. And we made that possible. It was always going to be difficult to Status Quo here with a good defense so far. 2-1 on their defensive side. 5-4 now to Tribe. They still only need 2 more rounds, but Status Quo have looked good. But the first bloods have been so crucial. When they found them, they've controlled the round. But that's been the case for both these 2 teams, it feels.
Tribe looking to go back to a tried and 2 strategy. Just forcing their way on towards site. Nades over the top this time from Puedas is not going to connect. As a matter of fact, things do not go well for Status Quo whatsoever. They've lost Rehan. Bomb now going to be down. Status Quo looking for a 3-1 retake of this site. Band is everything in this situation, but Blow will pick up 1. That's going to make things easier for him.
Oh my goodness. Rapallo and Washi though. Big plays coming up from them. Zyrax trying to reposition. Needs Band with him. He's done so well to find something, but he needs Band to get there very, very quickly. 2v2.
Band's going to find the 1.
Goodness.
Fake down for the count. Washi now forced into a 1 versus 2 here. Again, never count him out. Band looking for the snipe though, and Washi's not going to hit his. Band gets it done. And that is such a heads-up play call coming out from Band. He was committed earlier on in that retake to going all the way around on the flank, but his teammates die. He doubles back towards the middle of the map to find a couple of crucial gunfights, a massive reposition, and a changing of the play, a heads-up play call that saves Status Quo in that round.
Oh, and that would have been such a huge round for Tribe. You're 6-4 up. One round out of what? The next 3 would have had you 2-0 up in the series. Now all of a sudden it's 5-5 and it's anybody's game. Status quo on the defensive side. Tribe could do with steadying the shot. That's one of those rounds, though, that Tribe will look back on and say they should have won. Number advantage was absolutely there on the site. The bomb is down. You don't take the round. It's a stinger. Until the next round, it's completely different pace. Aggression has come through from Status Quo over towards the winery, though. They are going to be able to push up that way. Not much going on over towards B, but they didn't need to be in the last round. Blair was the one who got the job done. Oh my goodness me, you got to win that gunfight for your teabag. Banned with another ridiculous shot.
Again, it's that same situation where Tribe really do feel like they very often have more success on these offensive efforts when they're being aggressive, and it feels like Status Quo have kind of worked that out somewhat. If they can stunt them before they even get going, Tribe don't really have much of a response, and they're going to have to start figuring things out pretty quickly here. Their best bet would still, technically speaking, be a B push. Blur has not been as effective as he would like at the back here. And now Status Quo are going to reinforce that. Tribe Gaming have decided to go over towards A. They're not going to have anybody inside Winery to contest with, but are they going to read where these players are on the site?
So difficult this deep into the round to weed everybody out, but if you just start sprinting at them and see what happens, maybe that can work out. But Rihan will find Sue. And all of a sudden, we'll find the third. Yeah, nice and easy coming through for Status Quo, who were 4-2 down. Were 5-2 down, actually. Have now found themselves with 4 rounds in a row, I believe, Brady. They lost their opening defense on that side and have not looked back since. 1 away.
Status Quo, I mean, so many rounds put together here towards the back half of this search and destroy. They really seem to have figured things out against Tribe. Tribe now looking to get towards the site. Envy going to get cut down by Blur. Big first blood coming out from Status Quo. Tribe, though, they do have site control.
It's been given to them. No, Status Quo and choose to back down. Will they rue that mistake? The big push going to come through the middle of the double doors, though. You've got to get rid of that grenade pretty quickly, but Big in a good position to shut this down. But Rihan, an even better one, and there's the trade as well coming in from Zyrax. The bait and switch. The bomb doesn't go down. And Status Quo are 2 kills away from tying this series up.
We haven't seen a single overtime this season of North American Challenge season in the Snapdragon Pro Series. I think we might be denied yet another one here. Status Quo in a 4 versus 2. And Tribe, they look dead in the water. They're going to be able to retrieve the bomb at the very least here, but getting that bomb down is a different matter entirely. Reaper potential flank, but I don't think Zyrax is going to fully commit to this one. I think instead he's going to be playing catch for any players looking to make their way over towards A. Teabag, big gunfights right in front of him, but the shots are just warning shots. Washi getting taken out on the other side. You know where Teabag is. It's time to suffocate Teabag. No room to breathe. And Blur will close out a search and destroy in which Status Quo went super rocket powered towards the back half, round after round, back to back. I mean, they figured things out and they just couldn't stop.
Yeah, and honestly, once we went over towards the defensive side, in that first round, after what was a really nice resurgence from Tribe in the first half of that game, and then finding their first attack, you were worried for Status Quo in the, well, honestly, the whole of the challenge finals with the way that things were going. They turn it around, then all of a sudden that Hacienda is just a very, very bad memory. Series is tied up. And we have one on our hands here now, Brody. Honestly, after those first 7 rounds we've seen, I thought we were seeing Tribe just run away with this game. Status Quo will not let that happen. Really good defensive play. I think, was it a 2 versus 4 retake that they managed at one stage? I couldn't quite remember the numbers where it was, but they were in such a bad position. They turned around, and then all of a sudden, Tribe Gaming just folded. I think it was the one where, what was it?
It was Band.
Where Blair found a couple, didn't he? And Band did fantastically as well. Only goes 9 and 10, but pretty much carried that round all on his own.
Yeah, and honestly, I think, you know, the difference for me is you compare what Tribe Gaming were doing versus Hydra, right, in their kind of, I don't want to say iconic 7-0 performance, right, but it's certainly a memorable one from this season of the Snapdragon Pro Series, and you compare that to what happened here versus Status Quo, where Status Quo were able to put, I think it was 5 rounds in total, back-to-back on the defense, and, you know, ultimately, I think the big difference there is that Tribe, I think, versus Hydra, once they'd figured out a strategy, for example, just fully overwhelming a site and just getting super aggressive with it and not really allowing Hydra to retake said site, you know, I don't think it was ever really much of a response from Hydra, and they could just continue to do that over and over and over again. Whereas I think Status Quo very quickly adapted to that. They made adaptations across the map, and they made sure that, I mean, to be frank, Tribe could not get away with that one-note gameplay, and I think, you know, Tribe hadn't really prepared for that as much as we would have liked them to. So Status Quo, that is a huge response from them, especially given what happened in map number 1. We talk about momentum. Feels like it might have just been stopped dead in its tracks.
Yeah, let's see how it works out though when we go over towards control. Status Quo have had a very, very nice time of things on this particular mode, but I mean, so have Tribe realistically. I think what they've won it by an average of 2 rounds. Status Quo, I think, have 3-0'd everybody, so I think that's a nice position to be in. But as we've already seen in this series, I think we can kind of not throw those stats to the wind, so to speak, but, you know, they have already been countered. With the Hacienda, we've seen them 0-2 over the season against what you would argue is weaker opposition. Tribe Gaming smokes Status Quo on the map. Status Quo with 5-2 down. They bring it back like it means absolutely nothing. And over to Raid we go. Anybody's game, I would say, on control. Let's see how this one plays out.
Yep, Status Quo, of course, you say flawless in their controls. Tribe Gaming also flawless in control. They haven't lost a control this entire season so far, and we talk about the fact that obviously they had a more difficult group. I believe that does mean something. So Tribe will be feeling pretty good regardless of what happened in the Search and Destroy going into this map. And so far, well, not the best situation for Tribe on the whole. They haven't really dealt with Status Quo on the whole. There's still one player here to contend with. That's Envy, who could still do some damage, but as he gets taken down now, Status Quo should be comfortable to start their offense over by B.
Getting things ticking here. Start for Status Quo. Feels like they've just stolen some momentum away in this series, and when you try to overlay things in how things work in the mindset of these players, momentum is a true factor between so many of these top players and top teams. Zyrex trying to get himself out of his spawn and will manage to do so. Just trying to put the pressure on, though. If you are Tribe Gaming, don't want to soak it all up, but you have lost 7 lives already. It's, well, I mean, it's not looking fantastic when it does come down to things for Tribe in terms of the actual kill feed right now, which is very, very different to what we've seen in map number 1. They'll turn things around. Status Quo not quite as in an advantageous position as they were, but B has already gone. A is the more difficult.
There it is, and again, it's because so many teams do struggle with map control. Status Quo right now are dealing with a Tribe Gaming roster that are trying to make that map control work for them. They deal with the one player, though, over by poolside. You can see the immediate effect on spawns here. Status Quo players spawning closer to that poolside, now able to mount this offense. Ban opening things up with the opening snipe, looking for the second one. Rabalo right in front of him. Ban just going to have to dip his head down for the moment here and really need some support from his teammates. There it is coming through. Rihan and Zyro will pick up a couple of kills, but Vague answers back with a double of his own, completely clears house over by A. But again, map control is not here for Tribe. Status Quo, they continue to spawn closer and closer towards this hill.
Yeah, but these trades that are coming through as well, you think on the defensive team, yeah, okay, we're holding on, but with the life disadvantage you've kind of set up for yourselves to kick things off, it's not good viewing if you're a Tribe fan, because you're starting to lose these gunfights. Zyrex will find them, and it's all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 11 versus 3. And Riva Rabalo will find a couple of kills. Vig will find one on the Puertas as well. So all of a sudden, all right, 3v10 is very, very difficult, but you've only got to deal with 5 at one moment. 2v10 now, this has just become a little bit more impossible.
I think that's certainly a word, isn't it? Rabalo goes down for the count. There goes Vague as well. And Tribe are cleaned out in round number 1. And yeah, I think I kind of said it right. Fair play to Tribe. Off the back of losing control of B, they made the correct decision of just like, look, let's just chalk that one up. We're not getting control. Let's set ourselves up correctly for defending A. Unfortunately, as soon as they lost the first wave of gunfights, they completely melted away and can never regain map control. That can't happen here. Tribe Gaming now on the offense. What do? Immediate investment coming up from both sides. It's War Machine versus War Machine over on the point. Blur is going to have a lot of value for the status quo side. Washi, on the other hand, though, is basically operating on himself with the sniper rifle. Will pick up a couple of kills here and keep status quo in the conversation. And as I say that, there you go, status quo. They find the kills. Tribe now looking for a flanking player, and Envy is going to find value in that. Now looking for more. Zyrax, the last remaining player, is going to bring out the Sparrow. This is heavy investment from both sides to kick off this round.
And who really came out better? You would argue just about Tribe. On the live count anyway. Vake already has obviously popped these equalizer as well, making the push over towards this A side, just trying to put that pressure on where he can. Tagging on two different fronts, and it's working out for them. Envy trying to survive, but the utility is used very, very well. Here by status quo over towards that B side. I'll try maybe spread themselves too thin across the map. That would be my query, but they have found a couple more kills over towards this money side. Can't push that anymore, but A is ticking. B's going to be there very, very shortly as well. Status quo have to make a decision on what they want to do here.
Here's the kills coming through from Tribe as well. From status quo. Good effort from Zyrax, but he's going to get cut down. Now investment, again, is helping out so much for Tribe. Washi's continuing with the Annihilator through the smoke. He's going to find the easy gunfight. Now looking for Rehan as well. Can't find his kill. Rehan dips and dodges away for that gunfight. Will pick up the kill in the end. A is just a smidge away from being captured, and T-Bag is going to get it done. So we see the extra 60 seconds on the board. That is not great for status quo here with the life disadvantage they're facing down.
I have to get some kitchen control as well. You don't have it. So that flank can immediately come through. The spawns are deep. You are down in lives. Look at that. We are going to be tied up after 2 rounds of control. Both two teams doing well on the attacking side. Not going to be able to find that. Washi finds one in the middle of the map. Band is going to be able to find 1 and 2. So it makes that a little bit more plausible for status quo. Zyrax will find one as well. So starting to clean house. But the problem that you still have is no kitchen control.
This is just so problematic for status quo, though, on the whole. I mean, you look at the operate investment coming through from status quo. This is a Hail Mary and a half, and a bit of a risky one. If there is a bit of time, it is now. Ban is going to find 3 through Art. He's putting up artwork all of his own. Will get shut down by Vague, but is that enough? Has it opened the door here for status quo in a 3 versus 6? Has it given them a chance?
That's a small chance. Oh, it's going to make it a 3 versus 5, make it a 3 versus 4. Again, we talked about momentum being such a huge thing, and this might just add a little bit more of it towards status quo if they can find it. It's about to be a 2 versus 2. It is a 2 versus 2 onto the site in terms of what's actually being used right now. There's operators available. Washi, though, has made it now a 1 versus 2. Blur is on his own, but he does have a grenade launcher. Makes it a 1 versus 1 against Washi. He's called it in. He's called it in. It's big brain play. My goodness me, how status quo won that one. Oh my god. It's a huge round of control.
I can't believe how much they invested in that one. Was that 3 operators towards the back half of that control to convert what was a 4 versus, I want to say 4 versus 8, 4 versus 9, something like that. I don't actually know the exact numbers, but still, that is heavy investment. And the Predator missile as well. One could argue overkill, but it might be the thing that splits the difference between these two teams as we get towards the end of this raid control. Tribe, they want a stellar start on the defense towards this one, and they are winning the vast majority of the gunfights. Washi, a big part of that play with a couple of kills coming through with the sniper rifle, but status quo having absolutely none of it. They have flown towards A, and they are starting to overwhelm Tribe.
And on its way now. Tribe are not panicking just yet, but that is one of those rounds you probably shouldn't have let slip. Status quo, you got to give them their credit though. Fantastic work, and still working on something over towards A here. 2 ticks already in. Raballo doesn't really want to push this on his own. Predators will say thank you very much. We'll find one. He surely doesn't spin on the guy in the window as well. Doesn't need to. A gone. So now for Tribe, what's your setup like over towards B? Zyrax finds that in the middle of the map as well. They're clawing themselves back into this round.
That's just so much time on the board here. For status quo to make this work. So many different angles of attack, and you can start to see really they're already trying a few different things here. Kills starting to come through. Washi with a double. Zyrax and Puedas out of the play. Good read coming through from Rehan though to deal with Raballo off the spawn. This is such a perfect play from status quo. You've got players spawn trapping players towards the basketball court, and you've got players that are going to approach the point as well. Ban is one of those players. He's winning the crucial gunfights on the other side. Tribe being trapped away from the spawn. Status quo are dominating this game.
Oh my goodness me, how is it turned to this for Tribe Gaming? They come out the gates absolutely swinging on Hacienda, and have just seemed to crumble after one or two, I want to say, mishaps in the search and destroy. It's continued over into the control. 6 versus 16. Can they pull off the impossible? That, well, status quo wasn't quite impossible, clearly, as they managed to just about get it done. Washi behind, just trying his best. The Annihilator only has so many bullets, but Washi is a different kind of player. But there, again, it's like a nightmare when that Predator missile comes in once more. Status quo are going to take the lead in this series for the first time. I doubt the 1 versus 13 is happening from Envy. Status quo dominating in the control. The second round, though, will be the Inquisition there for the side of Tribe. They'll be wondering how they lost that one. Big plays coming through, though, from the side of Status Quo. They take a lead in the series, Brody. We very much, to be honest, after that first map and first half of the Search and Destroy, the fact that we now have ourselves Status Quo in the lead in this series from that point, I don't know how it's happened.
I mean, yeah, this is just honestly insane to me. You know, the first round was a pretty bog standard affair, right? And we already talked about how Tribe ended up losing that first round. And even the third round, to a certain extent, was just status quo overwhelming. For me, I think the thing that really did make the difference in this control was that round number 2, a situation where Tribe Gaming were to the good, right? I mean, they had the life advantage in the closing moments and the twilight moments of the round. And Status Quo do something that we as casters have begged teams to do for the longest time in control, which is actually invest your operators when it is time to use them as a Hail Mary play. 3 operators come out from Status Quo and the Predator missile to boot. It is a heavy investment at the right time, and it earns them around, which I think ultimately is the thing that earns them a clean 3-0 over Tribe, who hadn't lost a control this season thus far, which is an incredible statement, I think, given how difficult their group was.
I think once they won that second round, though, in the situation that they were in, it was always going to be very difficult for Tribe to come back there. Status Quo now 3-0 them on the control. 2-1 to the good. Hackney Yard is where we're going to be going next. I mean, I don't know which way you're leaning on this one, because I think it's still going to be difficult to ever count Tribe out. You just cannot. But are some things coming kind of back to the surface of what we've seen over the regular season here, letting things slip? You know, it's not necessarily, I don't want to say the overall play has been bad, but it just feels like there's mishaps to a certain degree, you know, lapses of concentration where things are happening that shouldn't be happening. Status Quo are taking full advantage of that right now, would like to finish it off in 4.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. It feels like things are not as perfect as they should be for Tribe. And again, this is a conversation that's been going on all season. I think it is their narrative, at least in my mind. The fact of the matter is, yeah, I know Tribe had a difficult group. I know that Nexus also shared that same group, but still it felt like Nexus was somewhat cleaner than Tribe were in the group, where, you know, you look at Tribe and they were losing maps to Hype Mobility, right? You know, they were losing maps to Hydra. You know, they almost got reverse swept by Nexus in the series. I mean, it's just, there is just so much here to talk about. For Tribe Gaming, I mean, it's just difficult. Ultimately, Tribe need to try and figure things out here. We're going towards a Hackney Yard hardpoint. This was a hardpoint, of course, that we did see Tribe play earlier on this season, and they managed to take it away from Hype Mobility. It was the most dominant win they'd had all season long until map number 1 of this very series. So maybe that bodes well for Tribe, as they did win map number 1 after all.
Yeah, the hardpoint looked fantastic from them. Let's not get it twisted. Absolutely dominating Status Quo in map number 1, but a lot has changed since then. Feels like Status Quo is starting to fire back, and there you go. There's 2 from Band, 2 from Puedes, and all of a sudden they can start to maybe work on these spawns over towards P2. Puedes will find another Washi and Raballo, though. Doing a really good job. They will shut this down and, well, then maybe get some more. It's really going to be about this P2 rotation, though, which is now becoming a little bit more of a scary situation. Tribe Gaming, if anything, have overextended here.
And Tribe Gaming here need to be careful about how they want to play this one. We know that P2 is always very awkward in this situation, and you're already losing the opening gunfights for it as well. So Status Quo, an opportunity to pull away early in this game if they've got the right setup. Generally speaking, you need a player towards that bottom side of minimap, towards what we call useless. And Status Quo have just let it go for free. Washi now in behind enemy lines. He could cause some serious carnage, but he is going to get caught up by Recon, and now Status Quo will actually plug that gap.
And Tribe Gaming had these spawns. They had them when the game kicked off. They were sitting back and concentrating on them, and all of a sudden they overextended over towards P1, and it has turned things on its head very, very quickly. Status Quo on top of that have themselves already a lead. Now you're trying to watch across. If you're Zyrax, any bullets in here is fine because you're just going to butter them up for everybody else. A couple of kills will fall their way though. Now the push going to start coming through. Important gunfight being won here by Rehan. Potential now for Tribe to get themselves through. Predators will eventually go down as Vega will find a couple. Still holding on, but eventually the break will come with 20 seconds to go. So really good job from Tribe. That is a win in my book when it comes down to P2.
Yeah, it's a good hill, I think, on the whole for Status Quo. Not quite as dominant as they would want, but still the fact that they're able to realize their error, I think at the start of the hard point, not let Tribe get through on that bottom side of your mini-map is the correct decision being made here on the whole by Status Quo. Now they want to follow up, though, with a good break over by Noob. Tribe Gaming should be the first team in touch. They're currently holding on towards those backside spawns. Status Quo looking to try and unearth them by pushing players in towards the backline. That's exactly what they've done. Now investment starting to come out to play as well as Blur brings the War Machine to the battle. And Status Quo already starting to take some of this crucial time away from Tribe Gaming.
That's a hard one to get some decent time on though. As for the rotation, isn't that useful yet? Who really knows Status Quo in this game? Find themselves in the lead after good break over towards P2. T-Bag trying to do something here on the rotation. No. Trying to button them up for the rest of the team to come on through, and that's going to work out. Rabalo, first one through the front door. Blur will shut it down. 18 seconds to play for here, and any time over towards P3 is good time. Find a couple of seconds, and Status Quo will be more than happy for this. Rotation coming in just a second. It is going to be Tribe first ones there again. Can they make it count once more though? Brody find themselves around 30 points behind. Kill feed again. Looking good for Status Quo, which was the biggest issue when we were talking about map number 1, right? They just got outplayed massively. They are very much within touch here, and Tribe Gaming don't have that to fall back on so much in map number 4.
Yeah, they really do want to start getting something going though if you're Tribe, I think, in this situation. That's why you're seeing such heavy investment coming out from them. It's 3 operators ready to go. They know how important getting a full 60 off the back of this hard point is to not just get control back of the game, but do it demandingly so. Vague in the middle of the map is doing exactly that. That's 3 for Vague. Dominance over the middle of the map, and now Tribe Gaming want to convert that into control. Vague is just bouncing from wall to wall, finding the perfect pass. He's like Sonic the Hedgehog, flying the map. And Status Quo, I mean, they'll get back through, but make no mistake, Vague is causing some serious issues right now.
He's trying to make it happen. Trying his damn hardest. Status Quo now going to be able to offer their own operators up for usage, and we've already seen that come to fruition. They found a couple of kills. Vague though has found himself in a wonderful, wonderful position. Rabalo's going to be able to find that kill nice and easy, as well as Vague will find one inside the point. This rotation was looking good for Status Quo. It's now looking impossible, as Tribe will find a way through, and some decent time can be picked up here over towards P5. And the setup here from Tribe Gaming is looking very, very nice. You're going to have to pick them apart from the outside here for Status Quo. Rabalo holding it down so well so far will eventually drop. And Zyrax will find that on Awashi. Wasn't looking likely. This close spawn's not going to quite be there. You can already see the push coming in from Puertas on the other side of things. This is a big moment if Status Quo can find this break.
Would be big. Investment, though, from Tribe is currently preventing it. Envy's going to find a lot of value there with the claw, but and Blur answer back. There it is. T-Bag and Vague answering back just as quickly. The biggest issue here for Tribe is the fact that those close spawns for Status Quo will continue giving them hit after hit towards this hill. You're going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly here. Tribe doing a good job of dealing with all of that pressure, though. They're winning these fights for the most part. Status Quo are getting a touch, but not really much more than that. Zyrax will come through for a couple of kills, but once again, there's those close spawns. Status Quo will be in for the back 10 seconds. Rabalo will get this one last look for the scrap time. To be fair, he's finding a lot of value. To be fair, Rabalo has managed to take that time away. But as I was saying, I mean, look, those close spawns for Status Quo, so frustrating for Tribe to deal with.
I mean, the spawns were all over the place, to be honest with you. I was watching the mini-map and just raising my eyebrows, but irrelevant of that. It will be Status Quo who just about retake the lead over towards P1. It's all about the fight for P2 though on the left-hand side of the mini-map this time around. Tribe Gaming are just about keeping the hold, but the spawn there coming in for Band. And now all of a sudden, if you're Status Quo, you want to try and concentrate on that if you can, but you need to stop Tribe Gaming soaking up this final 40 seconds over towards P1. Investment coming through from Rabalo. They'll probably try and want to push this out if they possibly can. This setup is looking very, very tight so far. Predator's the only one who can find anything. He's the only one who does find anything. and now have you overextended. Status quo still in a good position for P2. You're going to lose a lot of time over towards P1. If you've got P2, you can make that back.
Yeah, to be fair, this has actually been a pretty good hold coming out from Tribe on the whole here. So, you know, for status quo in this situation, you are actually giving up a lot on the hope that you do get a full 60 in the way that you more or less did on the last set. This is a big gamble, and it might not be one that pays off here. Tribe Gaming know they can invest in towards this hard point, get a flip, and really start to take full control over this game. But on the other side, we see investment coming out from Recon, Zyrax, Annihilator, Sparrow, finding a lot of value. Status Quo winning these opening engagements. Tribe now need to find a way in.
Rehan found Washi, who had the Annihilator out on himself, or isn't able to make that shot count. MB will find a second, one that he had no right to find. Huge investment here, though, from Status Quo. Ignore band. Does have the claw out as well. Just trying to shut it down, but everything's coming through the front. But he will find these kills just so easily. There's 3 in a row. And Vig's the only one who can answer back for now. Really good hold coming in here from Status Quo, and still 25 seconds to play for. Looking like Tribe Gaming are lick their wounds and move away. They will clean house. That will be every single second. Going over towards Status Quo on this hill, and that is what can be done over towards P2. And then you have a Predator missile to help you out on the rotation over towards P3 as well. Can they continue to find these kills and this success when it comes down to the points?
Yeah, that was a big hard point for Status Quo. We talked about the fact that they really needed that to retake control of the lead, especially the gamble that they made over by P1. It's a gamble that in the end did pay off. Now, though, over towards the next hard point. Last time around, that really nothing happened on this hill of note. Neither team were able to find much value for it. Recon up top is being a constant nuisance, though. Keeping an eye on these guys off the back of the spawn. Status Quo now in control. A full yellow kill feed here. Ton is going to give them control over this hill. A hill that, frankly, Tribe cannot let them have.
Can't let it happen. 40 seconds to play for here. Vig will just about find the toes of Zyrax to find that kill. He's going to find a second as well. Vig, who's doing everything he can here for Tribe Gaming. They lose this map. They drop into that loser's bracket. We'll see them back again tomorrow. But right now, it is looking like more and more likely as time has went on. Ravala will find 2, though. He will shut down any other push that will come through. The scrap time is still going over towards Status Quo, and it's about this fight over towards New, though, here for Tribe. They soaked up some really good time on the previous rotation on this hill. They must do so again here.
This has to be it for Tribe. You can't let Status Quo in even for a moment, especially given where that rotation is going to go. Tribe have to play this one perfectly. Trades galore to kick this hill off. Ultimately, Tribe will benefit from that. Couple of operators ready to be invested if Tribe need them, but you don't want to hit that emergency button just yet if you don't have to. Status Quo will try and take their time with this. They are going a little bit individually to kick this one off. Waydus and Recon, though, with those couple of kills, this might be go time for Status Quo, but it's not working out. Investment from Tribe Gaming. Raballo with a couple of crucial kills with the War Machine, but now it's just Raballo isolated. He needs to find more.
Well, he's all on his own, firing each and which way he can. Waydus will find one inside of the point. Honda Killer drone is going to go out and maybe just butter them up. Bandit Blood, though, will find the break. 25 seconds to play for here. Tribe will find a way back through. They will both fall. Still 50-50 on this one. Who's going to come out on top? And my goodness me, nobody seems to be folding. Push going to come in over towards the top of the stairs. Just trying to stay alive with Zyrax, and there is the break. Status Quo will find that final 10 seconds. Now about the rotation. Over towards New. You're only on your own if you are Vig, though. He will fall. Rotation belongs to Status Quo here, Brody.
Yeah, Envy, he was playing so well here. He managed to get a couple of kills before going down. He really needed some help from his teammates. Tribe somewhat, I think, over-invested in towards that last hard point, and they paid dearly for it because now Status Quo have control. Need to see Tribe go now. Recon, mid-map control with the Annihilator. Gonna find a couple of kills here. Band also with another one. Status Quo just 20 seconds away from booking a place in the COD Mobile World Championships.
Oh, here we are. The Annihilator is out, and the Annihilator is singing for Status Quo. The push will come through, and it's just going to be so difficult for Tribe to find absolutely anything. The Predator missile is what won them the control. It will put the final nail in the coffin here for Status Quo in map number 4. Winners bracket final and champs secured. Tribe Gaming, after a fantastic start to the series, just could not keep up.
Yeah, it was, I think, a phenomenal start for Tribe Gaming, right? But the momentum, I think, was just stopped dead in its tracks. I think we could actually pinpoint the exact moment where this happened, right? 5-2 up in the search and destroy, and it felt like Tribe stopped playing anywhere near as well as they were before that moment in this series. Status Quo stepped it up a notch, and in this hard point in particular, I think you can kind of point to, at least in my mind, 2 key points as to why they're able to win this hard point. First and foremost, I think the gamble that they made on both sets of rotations towards P2 to get a full 60. We talk about how pivotal that hard point is to control on Hackney Yard. We've said before that arguably it's the most important hard point rotation you can make across the entirety of the Call of Duty series, and I think Status Quo in this map showed exactly why, as they get a hell of a lot of time off that P2 rotation. They hold it well enough, and I think as well, pivotally towards the dying moment of the game, I think it was like the penultimate rotation, right, where Tribe, I think they just invested a tad too much towards that penultimate kill. They weren't really focusing enough on the rotation, and given how difficult it is to break those P5s, how sticky those spawns can be, I think that's something that, going back to watch the VOD, they're going to regret.
Big game coming in from Rehan. Seen so many moments with the Annihilation. He just about got the better of Washi. Couple of different occasions can make the difference. It's a 70-point game. Status Quo advance on Lauren, and that was an entertaining one. Not one I expected after map 1.5, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they took a little bit to kind of get themselves warmed up and ready there, and it might not have been the 140, what was it, 6-point gap that we had talked about at the beginning of, but 70, half of that against a team like Tribe, not too shabby. Pretty strong way for Status Quo to close out their match there. You can see it reflected in the bracket. 3-1 going the way of Status Quo, which means Status Quo moves through to that upper bracket final. We'll see them play later on in the day against the winner of our next upper bracket semifinal match, and then that will determine our first of 2 teams in the grand final. But like you said, Brody, also making their way through in that upper bracket does solidify that they at least won't be last, and if you're not last, you're making your way through to champs. So that's one thing checked off the list for Status Quo. Now they can sit back and watch this next series go, take some notes, and prepare for how they'd like to play at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of questions answered for Status Quo, right? I think for us, especially around this roster, I think we knew that they were going to be one of the teams, COD Mobile champs. They'll be very happy that they've made it to that point in the competition, but I think they'll be more happy about the fact that ultimately, you know, I think there's questions about, hey, they had a really easy group, so are they going to be able to do anything against these top teams? The answer is absolutely yes. Status Quo have been looking great in scrims. They've managed to translate that to the competition here. They're looking hot. They're in champs, but now they've got to get that big win in the winners bracket final to get them in the grands.
Well, we have to see who they're going to be facing off against later on today, which of course means we have our second series coming up right around the corner. Before we dive into that, though, we're going to send it to a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, DHL, and the United States Air Force.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where we just finished our first series of the day with Status Quo being the first team to push through to the next stage of our bracket here. Now we're turning our focus towards our next two teams. We've got Nexus and Oris Esports up on the docket to determine who will be facing off against Status Quo in our last matchup of the day. Nexus, obviously, another one of our stronger teams here in the region, Ton, facing off against a little bit of an underdog here.
Yeah, for Horus, coming through the group, I mean, were we too surprised? Yes, to a certain degree. Look, they had an opportunity with the group that they were in and they took it. But now to come to the big boy competition, I think it would be fair to say that they are the favorites to finish fourth out of the four teams that we do have remaining. So if they can go on to do better than that, I think the opportunity for them here is to get a spot of champs. That's what they have to really focus on. If you can go steps better than that, I don't want to, undersell a team by any stretch of the imagination, but they are going to be coming to this game specifically as an underdog and will be an underdog in every single one they have left in this competition.
Brody, give me your thoughts. We'll pull up the rosters here too. We start talking about some of these individual players, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle here for Oris.
Yeah, it is, right? And I think that's going to be the case against any of these teams here in playoffs, right? Again, Nexus is one of these teams you talk about kind of post-roster main or everything that happened with Vitality and, that super team that's currently playing in the India region and everything that kind of caused in North America. This is one of the rosters that, came out on top, and it's made up of players from, Team Mayhem, Rejects from last season, both rosters that were highly competitive with the likes of Seminole. This has been a pretty good roster, and I think the fact that they're able to get that Game 5 victory over Tribe Gaming is a big win for them. It kind of cements themselves as kind of second overall now in the power ranking, given what Status Quo did earlier on today. But they go up against Horus Esports, and Tons already said about the fact that Horus Esports, I think, look, this roster, it's kind of a dream situation for them. You're in a very tough spot on the whole here, having to face down some really difficult teams. But at the same time, you're a team that didn't even expect to be here. This is a wild card team. They got in off the fact that another team wasn't able to make the competition. The fact that you get all the way towards playoffs, you've already bagged yourself $1,000. You're in a great spot. And if you can do anything else, it's a bonus in my mind.
Absolutely. I mean, we've definitely seen just what adding Mexico to this region has done for our competition. So like you said, just an accomplishment for Oris Esports to even make it to this stage of the competition, first season out as a squad. But of course, they still have a little bit of competition ahead of them, Nexus being one of those teams. And we'll see what they decide to do here in this matchup when we get those picks and bans up on the screen as well, and see what our teams have chosen as far as this series goes. Starting off with the Hacienda hardpoint, but we do see a Kurahana is there, Ton. I'm not mad.
I don't know if we'll see it, though. That's the problem.
Probably not.
That's the problem. Look, other than that, though, it's fairly standard across the board. You would say the Hacienda comes in. It's very typical for these teams to come into it. The same with standoff. We've seen a lot more standoff, I want to say, than in the latter stages of the season, Brody, at least anyway. I feel as if when we've seen it at the beginning, Fire Range obviously in there as well, coming in from Horus. So that's a potential for them. Fire Range is always can be a little bit awkward at times, but Arsenal Control, again, is another one of those games that can get one good spawn trap, you can steal around away. Like, these are potentials maps for them, Brody, maybe.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is I'm kind of surprised that Fire Range Search and Destroy made into the set. I thought that Horus might get rid of it. I will say, I think on the whole, it's very difficult to Horus to ban against Nexus because Nexus are such a good roster. It's just like, what do you do? And on the flip side of that conversation as well, it's like Nexus don't really have anything to work with against Horus because it's not like very clear that there are any good particular maps for them. They kind of just barely scraped by the groups. I guess the one positive I'll take away from them from this map set so far is that standoff hardpoint is in there. Whether we get there is a different story, but if they do, they might have lost it to Kaya, but it's also, I believe, the only hardpoint that Nexus actually lost this season. So Nexus have proven that they can lose it. Maybe Horus can do something.
All right. Well, we'll see what our teams are about to bring to the table because match number 2 is ready to get underway. We're getting straight into it. Let's see how it goes.
All right. Look, we're expecting a We'll see whether it's a competitive series or not. Ultimately, I want to see Horus come out and surprise us. I think it's just one of those things where, look, we talk about status quo coming out of their group and being the roster. It's just like, look, what do we really expect here? Even though we know on paper this should be one of the most dominant teams in the region, given their group, what do we really expect? And we've just got the answer to that. Maybe Horus actually do come into this series here and surprise us versus Nexus.
I mean, it would be nice to have a competitive game to a certain degree, of course, as well. So let's see if we can get it. But yeah, Nexus are still going to be feeling like the favorites. I think they still absolutely are the favorites. But yeah, look, I mean, we've been surprised before. We've seen the turnaround between Tribe and Status Quo in the previous game. Are we going to get anything of the similar kind of thing here? I'm not too sure. Hacienda is going to be what we are kicking things off on again. Horus, can you provide some sort of an upset here? Or on Nexus, just going to show us what they're made of. A potential winners bracket final on the cards and a champ spot for one of these two teams, Brody.
Yep, well, it would not be a Call of Duty Mobile matchup without a Hacienda hardpoint, so let's kick things off on that map mode combination. Horus Esports are going to be the team that starts things off to the good over Nexus, but, you know, I think the thing that will split these two teams moving forward in this game is going to be the fact that I think Nexus are the kind of roster, you know, to be focusing on those key rotations, to be ensuring they flip the map in their favor for the rotation towards P2, so I think that'll be kind of their focus moving forward. Right now, though, they're not actually winning all these gunfights around the top side.
Good start for Horus. That's what you want to see. Just a nice little confidence builder to kick things off. You're like, yeah, okay, you want gunned across the map, Kings? No problem whatsoever. You want a second one as well? Yeah, boys. Okay, let's start getting a little bit excited. Some good time. Over towards P1. Rotation over towards P2 going to be incoming shortly, and you just know for a fact that Nexus are not going to let that one slide. Really good start coming in from Horus. You do take 20 hit seconds over towards P1 all day long.
Horus, though, still looking to be a nuisance here over by New. Agony's actually going to find a couple of kills. How enough if you let that happen? Horus Esports now looking to be real nuisances towards this next hardpoint. Spawns in the back favor here. Raph, though, nuisance with the R9 will find a couple of kills. We've given Nexus a good look towards this time. They're fighting this one from the front. Those back spawns can be real pesky, a nuisance to deal with. But if you get yourselves looking down that line of sight with the car bomb now going off, it's now safe to get on top of this area. Yeah, I think this actually is okay if you're a Nexus.
No problem whatsoever. Find the break back. Maybe just lean forward a little bit. Did they lean forward, I suppose? It's not like you've got the screen. You can move the screen.
Lean over there.
Maybe we need to reinvent the meme, but irrelevant of that, Nexus doing a really good job here as they finally get themselves a decent hold on a hill that you can get a lot of points on, and they are showing that right now. 15 seconds to go here. Over towards P2. King's putting the shots in, and we'll start to get this rotation underway as well. That is a clean hold for Nexus over towards P2. Really good job.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want. You know, it's exactly what I said as well. You know, generally speaking, the way for teams to make their way up towards the driveway towards the hard point is to get smokes down, and Horus weren't really able to do that, or if they did, they weren't able to do it effectively against Nexus to get in towards the time. And now Nexus, the operation has already started. Operation getting towards the next hard point. Investment coming out as well. Tarkels is just firing War Machine pellets down range towards the hard point. You see the investment coming out from Jez, who will get the kill with the Predator missile. Also investment coming out for the rest of the team too. This is a huge investment on the whole from Nexus. This is what, 3 or 4 operators in towards this time to take this hill away from Horus.
So they need to make a count. Nothing worse than a bad investment. Are they going to get any sort of returns here? They're looking like they are. 25 seconds to go now, but the close spawns coming in from Horus are going to make it difficult to convert that, but that is going to help things out. There you go. The Predator missile comes through. We'll take down one, and I mean, you're just keeping Horus off it. They were the first ones to rotate here. They haven't gained a lot from it. Nexus will get a little bit, and we'll send Horus on their way over towards P4. And now for Nexus, this is the time you would have loved something to try and find the breakthrough, but what has Jez got underneath his belt to try and sort out the break here if they need it? Nice setup from Horus. I was about to say it's going to be hard to break through even just Agony, but he gets taken down almost immediately. And is that the first domino to fall that will impact what goes on here in map number 1?
We shall see. Right now, Horus currently down by 20 points. They currently do want control over the next hardpoint. Agony's firing some Sparrow arrows down range. through the smoke, though, isn't able to be as accurate as he would like. Now on the other side, Jez comes through with 3 off the back of the claw. Nexus now looking for the back 30 seconds, and Jez is just forcing the advantage with the middle of the map. Dusha will respond with not just 3, but 4 of his own. It's a 4-piece from Jez, followed up by a 4-piece from Dusha. It looked like for a moment Nexus might get control of the kill, but Dusha will deny.
Cartels will find, though, too, to find a break back in. And for all those 4 pieces were exchanged, it ultimately ended in Nexus finding the breakthrough in the end. Final 10 seconds or so goes their way, but not a bad rotation of hills from Horus Esports. Really good job specifically over towards P4. Got some decent time over towards P1. I'd imagine Nexus will not want to let that happen again. But you can't let that full 60 go over towards Nexus, over towards P2 again, as things will start to get very, very scary.
So far, I've got to give Horus some serious props here in this game time, because they have definitely kept up with Nexus, not just in terms of the game, but also in the slaying department as well. Shout out to Agony. He was currently leading the squad. A player that was not playing for them in the last series is now doing so alongside the rest of the squad. Right now, though, is going to get shut down. Nexus Esports full control over this hill and a real opportunity to blow this game wide open. Currently a 50-point advantage, and it is growing, and they've got map control as well, but they do need somebody inside the hard point to actually soak up the time.
And they did have that top control. Now have regained it by the looks of things, as Jazz will find a couple. You start to soak up some time over towards P1. This is easy pickings for Thug, as he will eventually find the final few that he needed to. And that's some really good time for Nexus over towards P1. You take those every single time. And now we head over towards the hill, which is about to pop in 5 seconds, where they soaked up a full 60. And they've just set themselves up so wonderfully to do that again. Push going to start coming through here as well. Kings is going to be on the cross. If they don't find themselves falling, they are already going to be weak by the time that Nexus are waiting for them over towards P2. 50 seconds to go. Nexus in a good spot, but here come Horus.
Yeah. If this break doesn't work, Nexus will be in a solid spot. Raph is not letting it work. A couple of kills through the front of the hill. Dusha, he's been identified. They recognize that someone was trying to get their way through the outside, but Kato, all the kills are here for Horus Esports. They're broken right through the front of this hard point. Kings is looking at our fire back. Nexus, close spawns here. Do not want to give this time away to Horus.
You were perfectly set up, and now it brings Horus back into the game. That would have been crucial time for Nexus. They may well get the final 10 or 15 seconds. Rotation's going to be there for Horus. Nexus will find the break back through. They will get this time. It is still going to be a little bit of an extension of that lead, of course, for Nexus, but for Horus, that could have been a lot worse. Rotation over towards fences now. And they hold down some decent time. 4 operators available for Nexus. You'd imagine after the last time around, they're going to invest them.
Here comes that investment from Cartels. Couple of kills. Kato trying to survive the onslaught. Will actually pick Cartels off. Raffru U will only find 1 with the equalizers here. Kings really does need to find some value with the Annihilator. This is where Nexus were able to get control and really take this hard point away from Horus on the last rotation, but even he can only find 1. Horus Esports now looking to find their way through. Raff with yet another double from the R9. Nexus close spawns, as do Horus have. These guys constantly buying heads over that time, but it has to be said, it doesn't feel like the investment for Nexus was as worthy this time around.
Nah, I mean, it was some really good gunfights coming through from Dusha. I think he finds at least one that had the operator alive and kicking. I believe it was Kings that fell pretty much immediately with his out, but irrelevant of that, Nexus have managed to disrupt what was going on over towards this point. They did find the break, they did find some time, but last time around on the previous rotation, Horus got some solid ground made up over towards this hill. Can they do that this time? Raph's going to find 2 to open things up. Needs a little bit of help. Doesn't quite have it. Keep an eye on the spawns where they're going to lie. That's a big gunfight. Dusha keeps winning huge moments. He's only found 17 kills. He's not exactly leading the way for his team, but every single kill you seem to find has been important, and he might need to find a couple more here as well, as Nexus are starting to close the gap.
Yeah, it just feels like they've kind of, I guess, halfway point in this game, really got a lead where Horus haven't really been able to close it. And the vast majority of the gunfights being won here by Nexus. Root being taken by DDoS, who does come up with a couple of kills. Dusha, who has been a constant two-piece machine for Horus this game thus far, is going to produce another one that will give Horus control over the back of this hard point now towards the middle of the map. He goes for some map control. He's going to get shut down now. For Horus Esports, looking to win the vast majority of the gunfights. They can't get it done. Agony with the root, though. In behind will find 4 kills. Cartel's the last one. He's looking for the full wipe, and Agony, of course, he's going to get it.
Oh my goodness, they just line up for him. There's a 6th in a row now for Agony, who is starting to piece. He's starting to feel himself. We talk about flow state quite often. That just feels like it might have been it, but eventually he does get shut down. Nexus will stop the bleeding somewhat, but only for a couple of seconds as we go over towards P1. That was insane from Agony. See 3 of them lined up for him, but you take the look all day long. 30 kills to his name, looking to try and improve now. Dusha's going to bring in the operator. He will have something to deal with here, though, as Raph has found his own as well. Equalizers out, Annihilator out. Dusha doing some really, really good work, though. Over towards this hill, will eventually get taken down by Raph. Nexus found some good time over towards P1. They haven't been able to get a touch just yet, but that might open things up now.
Yeah, Horus still looking for all these gunfights to try and take this time away from Nexus. Raph is just running roots at the moment
huge
for all these kills. I mean, we talk about Dusha being kind of a two-piece machine for Horus. How about Raph? 41 kills. Jez also up there with 36. These guys are doing everything right now for Nexus. And they're also looking to get some time towards this hill as well. Once again, that 50-point deficit that Horus have been kind of contesting with all game long is once again present. And now as we move towards the rotation, Horus, a couple of players that really have to win their fight. Jez and S-Thug take both of those players down, and all of a sudden, Nexus are in control.
Agony calls in the perimeter, just to try and turn things around, just to try and give his team a little bit of hope over towards this hill. Cartels will find hit as he called in the war machine. Nexus now inside the point. They're 30 seconds away, and this setup just looks so impossible to break. 3 different operators being handled at the moment from Nexus. They are going to be about 20 seconds away from the win here in map number 1.
All they need is one more wave of gunfights, and I think that's probably going to be all she wrote here, folks. Nexus just doing such a stellar job at keeping Horus away from the kill time after time. They will get one last look at. Stunned up his Cartels. He's ready for it, though. They've got players outside the hard point, and we'll see you later, Alligator. Horus Esports done in map number 1 as Nexus explode towards the final couple of kills and get it done.
Yeah, really good job from Nexus. Horus, I want to say, though, in fairness, it probably wasn't as one-sided as I thought. It was comfortable for Nexus, but Horus offered up something to at least suggest that we may well still could have a series in us here. Not a bad start from them. I think, what was it, like a 20-point game after the first rotation? Not really much in it, but Nexus just really did chip away. I want to give them absolute credit for that map number 1, but Horus were... I want to say they were feisty, at least. You know, you've seen Dusha find a couple of moments. We've seen Agony, obviously, that crazy 6 in a row over towards P4, which is really where they found a whole load of success. But other than that, it wasn't too much to write home about. But a relatively comfortable map number 1 for Nexus. Doesn't take away from Horus, actually. Not looking too bad there either. So we're going to be heading into map number 2. And things still to play for here. Not too bad of a showing from Horus. And they show something a little bit more in the search and destroy.
Yeah, just solid performances there. I think on the whole, almost 3 40 bombs, technically 4 if you count Cartels in the mix, which I can't imagine any reason why you wouldn't. Just solid performances on the whole. Again, we talk about kind of the dominance, I think, for Raph, and I want to shout out Jez in particular, right, as those players, I think, even to reach the middle point of the game, were just procuring 2-piece after 2-piece, a constant nuisance that Horus couldn't really contest with all that much. And on the flip side of the conversation, right, we talk about Horus with their win against Kaya Nation. I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, and you know, you look at a couple of players that really did a lot of damage in that series. Kato and DDoS season. I mean, look, Kato barely goes negative, right? But he still isn't doing the same thing he was doing versus Kaya Nation, and DDoS season isn't even really in the game at all. You know, Agony looks like a good sub-in for this series, but it just wasn't enough to keep Horus in the conversation.
Yeah, for DDoS season 18 and 43 is tough, right? Isn't it? Especially, like, you know, you lose the game by what, like 70, 80 points. that's not insurmountable if he goes, you know, just dead even. That's kind of where you need to be at, but you're getting outslain by that much. It's a bit more of a tough ask. So a 1-0 lead now for Nexus. They'll be feeling confident for a winners bracket final and of course a champs spot. Map number 2 going to be coming up with the second. We've got a firing range, so look, it's always a bit of an awkward one for me when we come down to firing range. It's about your snipers, if they can play it well. It's about, you know, if you are able to dictate the map in a certain kind of way too. There's a lot of different factors when it does come down to firing range, and it feels like one of those maps that can be a little bit topsy-turvy for some of these two teams, but you would still feel like Nexus will feel like the favorites heading into this one. And then an Arsenal Control, well, we know how they can go as well, but we'll see how things do go. The cat hasn't woken up yet, and I wonder if Horus are going to give her a reason to here. Nexus looking good in map number 1 and should be in map number 2 too.
Yeah, your cat's just chilling, mate. He's having a whale of the time. She's chilling. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think it's a difficult situation for Horus again. We talk about the fact that we've seen Fire Range and Search and Destroy from Horus previously, right? It was a map in which they lost it versus Kaya Nation, albeit a relatively close map. It was 4-7 was the final scoreline in favor, of course, to Kaya Nation. On the flip side of that conversation, it was a map in which we've seen Nexus actually come out on top against the likes of Tribe, right? A 7-5 victory for them there. So, again, I'm kind of surprised that Fire Range Search and Destroy actually made it through, especially given the fact that it really felt like Horus don't have any hard vetoes, really, regarding Search and Destroy. So, yeah, bit of a weird one, but regardless, here we are anyway. Nexus now looking to have a good start to this Search and Destroy hit. Dusha and DDoS season, though, have other ideas. Nexus now, no control over the bomb.
Absolutely nothing to be able to be done here. If you're Nexus, and Jess is very good. Tundra in hand as well. Yeah, not going to happen. We'll find him. That is a clean round number 1 coming through from Horus Esports. You take those all day long. Defensive side, no problem whatsoever to kick things off. Maybe just caught Nexus napping. Find themselves 1-0 down. What can they do in round number 2?
We'll see whether the same kind of response comes out once again from Horus. Hitmarker will find that first blood once again. No hitmarkers for here. And Kings and Esflug, though, responding in kind. And now if you're Dusha, a lot more to do here over by A. You know the players have crossed, and you're going to whiff the snipe as well. Not quite as successful as Hitmarker in this round with the snipe. Things starting to fall apart here for Horus. Your last couple of players are also split.
Tough position. Rather than Agony finding something here, Dusha does find something on the other side, but now left in his own. 1 versus 2. Doable situation. 25 seconds. I just don't think that Estog or Cartels show themselves whatsoever here. Just no need to. 15 seconds to go. It's becoming a little bit more difficult. Dusha has to push forward, and Cartels will get him on the timing.
It's not over yet.
R9 in hand, always a difficult gunfight to win. 1 apiece.
Yeah, just good response, I think, from Nexus, despite the fact that once again they lose the first blood. I think as soon as they get themselves seated, comfortable in this Search and Destroy with these offensive efforts, things will be weird here for Horus Esports. Look at this aggressive push from the middle of the map, though. Utility will pick up 1. DDoS also going to catch their Stug for the second. Good response coming out from Rafi. Will find not just 1, but 2 inside the trailer. That's trailer control down now for Horus Esports, who are basically relying on everything from American side.
Just locks down this side of the map, right? Just so difficult now for Horus to entertain this idea and planting. And a bit of a stranger angle. Kings now finds hit as well, and Raf gets out. So for Horus, this becomes more difficult. But Dusha again, it's been so good for them. They forced their way onto the site. Kings is going to be heading this way very shortly. Haven't jumped on the defuse yet. It's all going to kind of be on Raf to see if he can find anything. The first shot's whiffed, but Kato doesn't whiff the second. Do they know where Kings is? He lines up the first. Does he line up the second? He does. Catches them both off guard, and Kings will clutch up the 1 versus 2. Nexus 2-1 to the good.
Kings next in line for the throw, and it would seem Horus Esports not able to get it done. Great play from Kings, who has had a stellar start at the Search and Destroy as well, at 5 kills to his name thus far. Dusha on the other side is the player that Horus have been relying on these defensive efforts so far. This is a very similar look once again coming out from Nexus. However, the route is a little bit different. Instead of hitting towards A, feels like they've kind of dipped out towards B through Tin's side. Horus, I don't know if they're even going to be aware of this.
Oh, is he in the position to open them up? Yes, he does. Just so easy. Surely doesn't find anything else, but does it open things up for the rest of the team? Potentially does. Dusha again. As you said, it's the walk-in two-piece. Kata will find another. So Nexus put them in an awkward position, but after being able to find much with it. Now a 2 versus 2. 2 versus 1. Yeah, Cartel's on his own. No bomb. This is tough.
Yeah, that bomb being down where it is the biggest problem in this situation. To perfectly outplay Dusha and DDoS in the situation. DDoS is keeping an eye on his teammate, but it doesn't matter. Dusha is going to get it done at close range. And Horus flip a situation that really wasn't that advantageous back in their favor. Nexus are throwing strategies at Horus right now, but Horus are responding pretty well.
Defend the objective. They have the bomb.
It's not too bad from Horus so far. Definitely holding Nora on here in the search and destroy. We know Nexus do have other gears. Well, this other gear is B. Oh, Horus hit. You've got to hit that. Quite literally. Cartels will then pick them apart. This bomb will be going down over towards B. 4v5 retake needed here from Horus.
Yeah, Horus, of course, didn't really invest anything in towards this site. They've been more focused on what's happening in the middle of the map. Now Nexus, off the back of that, in a very great situation. Numbers well in your favor. DDoS will trade things out, though. Jez trading right back towards the backline. Control not really there for Horus Esports. DDoS trying to make it so, but Cartels will double up to close out the round. And yeah, just a great play call. I think on the whole, right, from Nexus, you recognize the fact that Horus have kind of adapted somewhat towards your pushes through in the middle of the map. They're not going to have as good of a defense over by B, so you just hit it in a much more box standard B push through jungle. Great call from Nexus. It works.
3-2 to the good. Would probably like some breathing room. They might find it if they can find the opening pick here. Hackney finds one before falling on his sword, so already a decent amount of control over towards the tin side. As we'll get rid of the trophy system. Just about sees Dusha and gets the better of him this time. He's been a thorn in the side from back American, and all of a sudden this bomb could now go down a 4 versus 2 in favor of Nexus. They're starting to turn the screw now, Brody.
Let's really start to figure out Horus Esports. Things go from bad to worse now. His hit marker is left up in a 1 versus 4. And if you wanted one of the snipers on Horus Esports, it's probably not him, especially with a name like that. Sniper rifle in his hand. Trying to navigate the site. That's not going to happen. And well, we switch sides with Nexus. I think really starting to figure things out there towards there at the end of the offense. Well, those 2 rounds Horus took away enough to give them an advantage here in this S&D.
Defend the objective.
Nice position to be in, though. Just that little bit of breathing room. Mistakes can be made. Still in a comfortable spot. Hit now, just trying to find something here on this attacking side. Almost being left in the spawn, so he's going for a pick very clearly. Arrow just clearing out the middle of the map. Utility being used. Big gunfight's going to go down over towards the B street, and Case is going to be dealt with. So all of a sudden, does that now offer the threat over towards B? Nexus have to answer it. Irrelevant if they do actually take the bomb there. Set up over towards A is very tight through tin, though, so that could be interesting. But still, Horus haven't picked up the bomb and haven't really made any decisions yet.
I just think they're looking for another frag before they make that move forward, right? Maybe try and distract Nexus as well. I've got the numbers on this because of it. A 4 versus 2, while DDoS might be looking for a late flank for the players. You'll take that trade all day long if you're Horus as well on the attempt. And there you go. DDoS is able to take S-Thug off guard. So now a 4 versus 2. This bomb's going down whether Raf wants it to or not. Jez at the very least will pick Agony off and could still do some more damage as well, but you really need something from Raf here.
I presume Raf, with the R9 in hand, will find something. The timing doesn't work out, and Dusha will roll around the corner. And Kato will be there to back him up as well. A really, really good job. 4-3 to the good now to Nexus. They kind of get picked apart there. Horus played very, very patiently. It worked out in their favor. I wonder if Nexus will offer them that opportunity this time, though. Will they step into towards their clutches, or will they just wait and hold on tight?
Horus have just been so good at responding to Nexus in their search and destroy. Really the only last couple of offensive rounds from Nexus are the only exception I can think to that. Horus now looking to do it once again. They've drawn first blood here in this round. Arguably the most important player is off the board now for Nexus. The Queen is gone. Now looking to see whether you can start to make some moves with the rest of the pieces you've got left on the board if you're a Nexus. You are heavily investing into an A defense here. This is a lot on S-Thug in this situation. The weight of the world is on his shoulders if they do choose to go B.
If you can find one, that's okay. Anything else will be an absolute bonus. That's where the push is coming as well. Mira goes. You can already see that Jez is on his way over to potentially help. BP50 here as well. You wouldn't have minded an R9 yet. He will find one. That's an alright trade to come through. But Horus Esports take control of the site. Smoke goes down. Bomb may well follow. Cartels is already here. My goodness.
Yep, he's already picked up one. Looking for more. Hitmarker will trade out at the very least. Hitmarker's going to find more value too. A valiant effort there from Nexus. A little bit of pre-fire. Just to add insult to injury to the last remaining player. Jess is going to have to reposition anyways. He's not stopping this bomb from going down. Now looking for the blood against Agony. Oh, you really need to hit those shots if you're Jez. It's far from ideal. And now, I mean, if the hand wasn't in favor of Horus, it most certainly is now.
Has he slipped the net here? Not quite. Shots are going to come in from behind. Yeah, Agony will find that one. Nexus starting to bleed rounds here. Horus Esports making the search and destroy very, very close. Is there something in this series, Brody? Nexus have felt in control somewhat, but Horus are pulling it out the fire every now and then. Bit more aggression coming out from Nexus over towards this B side now. They may just hit this all together. There's four, actually all five have hit B alley. My God.
Hell of a strategy from Nexus. One that they're going to have to rethink there because S-Thug gets tagged down to about 10 HP by way of nade. And of course, they have in this gambit given up full control over 8. The Horus now. It's a question of whether or not they recognize it, and I don't think they have. They've just no idea that Nexus gave up full control. They have no idea that Nexus, I think, even made that play.
I think one stun potentially hit, but
I mean, you don't know how many players it hit, though, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, right. It will find Kings. These first bloods are coming every now and then. The side of Horus. Cartels could be in danger here from Dusha as well, who is being lights out. Oof. Bit of timing on both sides. Cartels are still holding that. No problem whatsoever. But for all that Nexus have lost a body, Horus haven't really made too much of an inroad yet. Smoke through the middle of the map, but now they start to make their move. Cartels was waiting for the push. Kado was waiting for him. 5 versus 3 in favor of Horus.
Got the numbers. You've got the site control. Do you have the gunny to hold it? Raf. Patiently waiting on the other side. And Dusha, he's a whack-a-mole pro. As soon as that head pops up, it'll be right back down. There it is. It happens off screen, but it doesn't matter. It happens regardless. S-Thug will find some value on the other side. 30 seconds for a 2 versus 4 now. And even if you've lost that gunfight to S-Thug, you've gained information that a threat is coming around from this backside. And Dusha is ready for it, as is Agony. There's the kills. S-Thug now in a 1 versus 4. Nowhere near enough time to make this work.
Impossible situation.
Oh, what?
I mean, he's won the gunfight, but it's just not going to happen from there. Inconsequential in the end, but what is consequential is the fact that Horus Esports are 5-4 up here against Nexus in the search and destroy. Frankly, we were coming into this and expecting a 3-0 from Nexus. Horus have shown something in the hard point. The search and destroy has been very, very close, but Horus find themselves in the lead now.
Horus now just looking for the next round. It's not going to happen. Not in this one. No way, unless Hitmarker and Agony can pull off something absolutely superb. Agony is running through the middle of no man's land. The fact that he's lasted that long is, well, enough of a surprise. But Nexus done with the pleasantries. They come through, force a round 11 here. Could be looking at our first overtime of this North American Challenge season.
Are we going to get it? I feel like that would be an easy assumption to make at this stage at 5-5, but you know, we've seen things change very, very quickly. Nexus on the defensive side. It feels like they're not being very patient. Horus are picking them apart. Nexus are offering up a little bit too much. Maybe throwing too many shoulders. Because Horus, with all due respect to them, it's not like they've come up with some crazy strategy to try and find these attacking rounds. They're finding an opening blood after Nexus go for a challenge. And then moving from that. If Nexus are maybe a little bit more patient, can they put themselves on that point?
Yeah, it feels like a story as old as time, right? When it comes to Fire and Range Search and Destroy in particular, I think teams, as they start to get aggressive and start to feel momentum from a previous map win, they can get a little overzealous. And that might be the story here for Nexus, but they seem to have learned their lesson. No more getting burned in the fire that is Horus Esports. Instead, a lot of time being burned off the clock here. Horus need to start to make a decision pretty darn quickly. Nexus kind of gambling that it is going to be an A, and if it is, that Horus will put a lot of effort into getting control of the trailer. Looking for the first blood is Jez. He's going back for a seconds. Will he get his just desserts, though? No blood just yet. Nade over the top. 29 seconds. Horus have to go now.
They've sat around forever waiting on it, though, and Jez maybe just getting a little bit bored, but they are going for it now over towards the B side. Thug's going to get taken down. Kings towards the back, needs to find a couple here to slow them down. Can only find one. DDoS sees him, finds two of his own. He's going to start pushing forward here as well. Are they going to expect it? No, they are not. Cartels finds two, and now the time is just on the side. Dusha going to come round. He will know that Cartels is there. It's now a 1 versus 2 for Jez. Have they got time to get it down? Have they got time to get it down? No, they do not. Oh my goodness. After all of that, I didn't even notice the time on it, but they wasted so much of it, Brody.
I think they actually might have had time. Maybe just for us on Codcaster mode, it showed us that they had time, but they certainly didn't think that they had. They also might have just missed the button press, right? Sometimes that happens, of course. You know, you kind of forget that these guys are playing on phones, and you can sometimes miss it. So it's unfortunate, but around for Nexus here. It's 3 on the bounce for them. Horus Esports, once again, same principle, same strategy here. Wait for Nexus to come to you, but I think if Nexus might have just cracked the code here, they are not doing it.
Worked out last time for Nexus. Why change it now? Sending a little bit more reinforcement over towards this A side. Jez is quite happy to peek this. He seems to be the only one who really is making any movement. That grenade over towards Kato does not land. King's back over towards the side to help out again. Did a really good job when they did finally make the push over towards B, and actually kind of like what they've done this time. They sent DDoS down that B alley. He is a little bit more advanced than they were in the previous round, so he's there to make the move if he needs to. Picking the bomb up with 55 seconds to go. They are elongating the search and destroy, drawing it out as long as they can. They're just waiting for Nexus to make a mistake, but they didn't in the previous round. They ain't going to do that again.
Horus is just trying to find a way into the site. Yeah, here is might be that player to get it done. Of course, Nexus are not actually investing anything into the trailer itself. Kings elsewhere, though, will find DDoS. Horus now. This all of a sudden becomes a lot more one-dimensional, doesn't it? They've got to get the bomb down. They've got to hope the Nexus kind of just falls straight in their lap. Cartels with the slide out for the information. Agony just hoping to get something. Kato down on the flank. There goes Agony as well. It's all falling apart for Horus. Dusha looking to get it done with the first kill. Now all down to hit marker as Dusha falls apart. Can he do anything? No, he cannot. Nexus. It takes them a while, but they figure it out in the end, and they deny us yet another overtime.
And they just knew they just had to sit tight. That was the really big difference maker. When they went over towards the defensive side, they maybe started to, I mean, look, it can be a bit of a cocky play, can't it? You know, you go for that aggression. Is it just the way you play? Yes. Yep. They will be feeling confident that they could have went for those gunfights. And when Horus started winning them, they started to then sit back. Horus could do very little. They really just didn't have any tools to open things up. I think I alluded to it a few rounds ago. Like, other than Nexus offering them up first blood here and there, that's what they really were thriving off. But as soon as that stopped happening, I don't want to say they looked lost. Maybe that would be a little bit of a harsh reality of it, but they looked maybe neglective of ideas to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I mentioned it in the middle of that Search and Destroy. I think the idea that, you know, a team who are very confident in themselves will very often on Fire and Search and Destroy get overconfident. You can definitely play around that. Is something that we've seen in the past, you know, here in Call of Duty Mobile. So it's not a surprise to see Horus trying to play around that, and for the most part being successful in doing so. As you said, though, I think once Nexus really started to figure out, okay, let's just, you know, slow down a little bit, play a little bit more methodically, especially in those last couple of rounds, right, where they were able actually to take the win, and it just became a case of they literally played the exact same setup, 2 rounds on the bounce, and Horus didn't really have a response. Yeah, I think it is absolutely clear that, you know, Nexus, once they figured things out, weren't going to let it happen again. Shout out to Cartels, by the way. I think he finishes on, what, 14 or 15 kills there towards the end of that Search and Destroy. He kind of definitely pounced, I think, a little bit on those final 4 rounds.
Yeah, really good job coming in from him. I think it was the 2 in the previous round that when he shuts it down when he comes out of the crates in round number, I believe would have been 11. So really, really good job coming through from Cartels, and they will find themselves up now 2-0, heading into an Arsenal control. You got to be feeling good if you're a Nexus fan as we head into this one. The Horus still have a chance. I think in map number 1. They were in it to a certain degree. One decent hold here or there. It's a 60-point swing. You maybe find something. Search and Destroy, you were close but not quite able to get the job done. I'm not entirely still counting them out here. We're going to an Arsenal control. If they can hold down a decent spawn trap in one of the rounds, steal that one away, find another couple, it sounds simple to a certain degree, but you know, it is a bit more difficult than that.
Yeah,
there's still, it's plausible that they can find something here though, Brody. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. But I will say, you know, I think, again, this is one of those maps where maybe Horus might regret not banning it as their control. If only because, you know, previously it's the map in which I believe they banned. I think they banned it 2 out of the 3 series they've played this season as their control ban. And the one time they did play it, they got whopped. By status quo, mind you, to be fair. So, you know, if you're going to get whopped by anybody, you probably want it to be status quo. But still, you did lose that one 3-0. So it doesn't actually bode well versus a roster such as Nexus, who have proven relatively proficient in the mode. And, you know, this is one of those situations for me where, you know, in my mind at least, the best teams are very obviously made clear against the rest of the teams, especially with the spawn trap situations on this map. If a team is able to win those opening gunfights, I think Nexus will most certainly make the best of that situation. And those opening gunfights already starting to go down towards the middle of the map here. Horus want to get the better of Nexus. Jez not allowing it though. DDoS has something to say. He will find a couple of kills, and Horus starting their campaign over towards A.
Importantly, Cartels does win one push forward into the spawn, so potential flank could be coming through, a potential distraction for Horus to have to worry about. Push going to start coming through in a second, but DDoS finding 3 kills off the rip. Gives Horus Esports just a fantastic start to the round. We'll find one spawn trap now starting to be set up here by Cartels. I don't think he's going to find a great deal more. Can find one and dip out as well, and there comes the kills inside the point, and this is where the danger starts to loom for Horus Esports. Cartels is just finessing around where he needs to. It's just not an easy gunfight for Agony to answer back from, and Cartels is going to have some backup very, very shortly.
This is exactly what I was talking about. Right, again, yeah, Cartels. How is he still alive? Finally, does get shut down by Hitmarker there. But yeah, as I was saying, right, I mean, that is exactly what we were talking about. Nexus, the kind of team where once they get those opening gunfights, I don't think Horus are going to be able to get out the spawn trap. A 7 life differential, and it continues to grow. A gap that Horus Esports, I think, are being seriously damaged by at the moment. Estug now going to find yet another couple of kills there. The power of the BP50 before your very eyes, folks. 25 seconds left. The damage is well and truly done.
Difficult position now for Horus Esports, but one wave of kills puts them back in a position. But that wave of kills ain't looking likely. It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, you know what it is? I want to give Nexus their absolute credit here. Cartels repositioning himself on that spawn trap. He kept it alive all on his own for about 20 seconds. He's a sneaky little bugger. And it's all done. 1-0 now to Nexus. Fantastic job from Cartels especially.
Nexus very happy with the start. It's exactly what we said. Right, again, you get them in a position where they can really start to hurt Horus with a spawn trap, and I think they're going to be really effective at it. You know, that's the bottom line ultimately. And we'll see whether the same thing happens again. It is worth saying that Horus did win the opening set of engagement, so they've still got a good chance to do that once again here. But investment coming out from Nexus almost immediately, and it works out perfectly. 4 kills, nobody dead here on Nexus to kick things off. There is one player trying to be sneaky through vents. If they get some good timing, they may be able to do something. But Jez with the Predator missile now should be able to call that out. Oh, what a response!
Yeah, Cartels there. Yeah, there you go. Straight through the vent. On a killer drone straight through as well. This has just been almost flawless from the side of Nexus. They've lost 1 man and A is captured. How often do we see these fluid attacking moments on Arsenal Control? Yeah, you'll spin round for that as well, and Raffle just advance forward. Rest of the team going down the B street, but looking for a little bit of control. And you know what? I really like that from Nexus. I think you can overheat, you can move forward, try to bite off more than you can possibly chew. He just backs it on up. He's going to start working on the spawn. Kings is there to hold down the doors. And B is about to start to be worked on. Horus Esports. I mean, need to send out an SOS right now because Nexus are absolutely bodying them.
Yeah, this is not good, and it's about to get even worse as well. Raf here, he's got the equalizers in the spawn, causing all sorts of issues. He's still going as well. 4 for Raf, 5 for Raf. The tally just continues. The bodies continue to hit the floor over and over again, and Raf is having an absolute whale of a time. 8 for Raf. Finally, will run out of bullets in the equalizer, but the damage is done. Nexus are sending Horus wheeling away. This is horrendous. There's got to be some kind of law against this.
My word. Cartel's now having his fun as well. It's 19 lives remaining on Nexus, and all of Horus Esports have been dealt with. 2-0 up now, and cruising. First 2 maps, Horus Esports have put up a fight. Nexus, this is utter domination, which, I mean, look, you alluded to it before we kick things off here in the control. The stronger teams show their hand on this map. And are they about to just make it look even easier with another one? Cartels is just lighting them up at every single opportunity. There's 2 kills to kick things off. Operators in Nexus looking to kill this one off as soon as they possibly can. It's just an absolute bloodbath. Not much to be said here from Horus Esports, but they have started to find a couple of kills. They need to find a few more if they want to inroad over towards the A side here, Brody.
Yeah, Horus Esports just in total danger here. Nexus Esports, I mean, that they are basically walking their way to COD Mobile Champs at this point in time. And we'll say there's some fight left in Horus, it would seem, in this round at the very least. The start of the round, I think there was a heavy investment from Nexus that Horus seemed to have answered, and now there's investment coming out from Horus as well. Towards A they go. Kills now being made. Cartels, what can he do? Firing pellets towards the point. Only has 3 left to go here. Will finally take out 1, but actually wasn't as perfect as he would have liked. So Horus Esports, now an opportunity.
Well, Kato staying alive there as well is really going to help things out. So at least Horus have found some sort of inroads, but Raf, Cartels, oh my word, I will eat my words. Just walking on through, and it's just ever so easy. Raf will find another, and now Horus Esports are in a dangerous position. They were looking in a good spot just 2 seconds ago, but all of a sudden things can change very, very quickly up against Nexus. Kato is going to have to bring something in. Immediately gets dropped with a claw in the hand. And now Jez is going to say, yeah, hold my beer. This is how you do it. There's 1, there's 2. And welcome to the spawn trap with 10 seconds to go. Honestly, a valiant effort. And maps number 1 and 2 from Horus. But levels have been shown as we headed over towards Arsenal. The game is done. They cannot reach it. Nexus. We'll see you at Champs, and we'll see you in the winners bracket final.
Putting the arse on Arsenal. Nexus 3-0 over Horus Esports, and Horus just looked totally done, mate. I mean, that was insane. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Horus Esports, I mean, just like, they had like a moment there, I want to say, in the final round, but the first couple was just terrible.
You done me in. Off guard there.
You done me in, mate. I mean,
I think that's your doing.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, seriously though, I think like the final round from Horus, they looked like they kind of stabilized, but just those first 2 were absolutely horrendous.
I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Like, I want to say, you know, look, you're on the attack the first round. Cartels was doing absolute God's work. over towards the spawn to keep that going as long as he did. As soon as you're in that position, your backs are against the wall. You're then heading into the next round when, of course, you're on the defensive side, and because of how well Nexus have played in that first round, have got a entire air force behind them nearly in terms of the operators to try and make that push through. And as soon as they make that initial push through, it's very, very difficult for us to answer back there. And yeah, you're 2-0 down. You are being beaten to a pulp. And again, Nexus just do the same thing. But again, I want to give Horus some credit in the sense, and I don't want to take anything away, and I don't want to underestimate how good of a team Horus obviously are. But map number 1, look, again, you talk about that 70-point deficit. One of those 60 holds that Nexus had, you half that, immediately you're back into the game. Search and Destroy, you lose it 7-5. There was certain rounds that could have went a very, very different way. And honestly, Lauren, I think they can take some positives from that. They will obviously be in the loser bracket. They can't lose again, but they may well be thinking to themselves, we could potentially do this. Could we see them as champs? That has to be the option now.
Absolutely. I mean, they definitely put up, I think, more of a fight than people were initially anticipating, especially in the S&D. Definitely a learning opportunity there to, when it comes to working on their control. We'll have to see what they can kind of figure out overnight. Obviously, like you said, they'll drop down into that lower bracket. They'll still have one more opportunity tomorrow to see what they can do with their matchup. And they'll be waiting to see who they're facing off against, because now we've got our 2 winners in our upper bracket final. So we're going to see Status Quo and Nexus battle it out for that first spot in grand finals. But now Horus gets to face off against Tribe and see what happens down there. Now, we're not worried about that. That's tomorrow. But either way, we still have loads more games in store. But I think this upper bracket final, Brody, is the upper bracket final that we were anticipating.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we didn't really know who between Status Quo and Tribe would actually make it to face Nexus. I think we certainly did expect Nexus to beat Horus again. But, you know, I think Tun called it correctly, right? Props to Horus for being as competitive as they were. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, we expected Nexus. We didn't know which one of Status Quo or Tribe would be facing them in this upper bracket final. I am kind of glad it's Status Quo to a certain extent, not because we want to be biased casters or anything, but because it's a matchup. You
didn't know, but you had stats on Status Quo for
True,
days.
But again, there was that kind of asterisk, right, of just like, you know, how much was the group affecting that? But, you know, I am glad it's this matchup because it's one we haven't seen so far, and so we get a lot more questions answered here with this winners bracket final.
It's true. I didn't even think about that because of the ways that our groups for the GSL style format played out. We've yet to see these 2 teams square off against each other, which means you are in for a treat if you're at home and you're watching with us. So before we get into that, we're going to give Nexus a little bit of a time to get a reset in and get themselves prepared for the last series of the day, which means it's time for another short break. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, DHL, and the United States Air Force.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where we've now done 2 of our series here on the day, and we're heading into the 3rd and final matchup between Status Quo and Nexus, who are fighting in our upper bracket final to claim the first of 2 spots in our grand finals here for North America. Both of these teams have won their matches so far, which means both of these teams have at least made it to the points of the competition where they will be moving through to the World Championship later on in the year. But now it's about who claims the title, who's the best in the region, and these 2 teams trying to get that first spot to do exactly that. Both very strong squads. This is going to be a banger of a matchup, potentially similar or even better to what we saw between Status Quo and Tribe here, Brody.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, it's again, it's so weird because we haven't seen these guys. I'm sorry, I'm normally less useless than this, but like, yeah, I mean, it's difficult, right? Because again, it comes back to that conversation that Status Quo are just like, what? Just like, again, you don't really know anything about them from Group A. We haven't seen these guys play Nexus at all this season. That was part of the point I made before we got into the break, right? The fact of the matter is we haven't seen these guys face off at all this season. So how well they match up against one another, we just don't know. Literally all we have to go off is scrims, and I don't really ever put anything into scrim. I mean, scrim bucks don't really mean anything to me.
Well, I think part of it too, Ton, is like how much research have they done? They've got a season worth of matches that they could have watched each other doing. Yeah. And did they take notes? Do they have those picks and bans down, and are they prepared for their matchup here today?
Well, I hope so, because we are at the kind of business end of the tournament now. You should have your research done, and we'll find out very, very quickly when the picks and pans do come up whether or not that is the case. But, you know, I kind of agree with Brody, sadly, that, you know, it is hard to predict, because both these two teams, they haven't faced off against each other this season. So I think by proxy, we should think it is going to be a very, very good game. They are undoubtedly the two best teams at this moment, based on, I mean, it doesn't take an analyst to work it out. They are in the winners bracket final, right? So they are the teams who you would expect to be the best two in the region. So we should have a very, very good game. But at the same time, whether or not that scoreline is 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2, I think it's hard to really judge which way this one could go, Lauren. It could really go either way.
And, you know, chat, this will probably be a good time for us to ask your thoughts on this one specifically, because like the boys have said a few times, it'll be the first time we're getting to see them face off. We are not starting with a Hacienda for the first time today. We're starting with the Summit Hardpoint. And chat, while we're talking about these picks and bans, I want to know your thoughts on how this series is going to go. Brody, what are you thinking here?
The Summit Hardpoint, that's an interesting one, because I don't think it's something we've seen like pretty much all season long. I'm sure we've seen it a couple of times, but I don't think we've seen it from either of these two teams, I want to say off the top of my head. So that's going to be an interesting one. Then again, Hacienda wouldn't be a COD Mobile series without it. And it is interesting that Nexus, I think, will want that one in the series, considering we saw this one go the way of Tribe earlier on today. So I think that's probably why that one is in there. Also, the Tunisia for a map number 5 as well. Again, this is something we saw earlier on today. That is very favorable for Status Quo, given how they played that map. So I'm liking this series if I'm Status Quo. The Arsenal, I think, is going to be probably the most interesting one for me, because what we just saw from Nexus, they ain't going to do against Status Quo. I mean, I don't think they'll do. Maybe they will, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, we haven't seen a summit from either one of these two teams over the entirety of the season, so that's going to be an interesting one. It's hard to kind of ascertain, but for Status Quo to go on for the pick on that, obviously there will be some confidence from them. Yeah, the Arsenal is a tough one, because both these two teams were so good over the entirety of things with control. I mean, we just seen what Nexus did to, albeit Horus on this mapping mode in particular. They'll be feeling confident heading into map number 3. The Search and Destroys, I think, is going to be interesting. Based on how the previous series went with the turnaround for Status Quo and Tunisia, they'll be feeling confident, obviously, that being their pick if we do get there. I'm still struggling to see who's going to win this series, though. I think it's very, very difficult. It's a very, I want to say, substandard map set. I don't necessarily like lean in any direction realistically with this one, but Status Quo for the map number 5, Tunisia's in there after a really good defensive performance. That will be in the back of their minds, but are you able to be that good defensively again? Yes, okay, they won it, and this is talking very theoretical, because there will be a map number 5 that we would have to delve deep on, but they had to win 5 rounds in a row to get the job done. So let's see.
I do kind of like this, though, that we're heading into kind of a decider match, right? Decider match to get us into the grand finals. And there's lots of unknowns, whether that is just the quality of matchup between these two teams, because we've not seen them face off, or even more micro level, the ability on some of these maps, because we haven't seen them play it for 4 weeks of a challenge season. So this will be an interesting way to kind of start this series. At least opens up opportunities for both of these teams. Maybe there's some secret ace up somebody's sleeve, prepared to go on the first map and start off with a little bit of strength. Like you said, Ton, though, Nexus is coming straight out of a series. Maybe they'll still keep some momentum going for themselves, versus Status Quo having to cool off a little bit and watch as Nexus was facing off against Horus Esports. Either way, everybody at home, don't forget, whoever loses this match is not out of the competition. They'll just drop down to that lower bracket, where they will wait to face off against the winner of the matchup between Tribe and Horus Esports, who are also not out of the competition yet. So that will all happen. That lower bracket run will happen tomorrow, as well as the grand finals. So make sure you tune back in after everything here is all said and done, not only to see who stays alive, but who makes their way through to the World Championship in October. And then, of course, who wins the entire thing, who gets the crown, the trophy, the title of the best in the region, because there's still lots on the line. But bare minimum, like we said, we do know for a fact that you will be seeing Status Quo and Nexus now in that World Championship situation. So like I said before, let us know your thoughts in chat, okay? Who you think's going to be taking this one home now that you have whatever limited additional information you've now been given after we got those picks and bans through. I think we're still waiting for just a couple more of our players to get themselves ready to go. While you're waiting, of course, you can follow us on social media, X, Insta, and Facebook for all updates related to the Snapdragon Pro Series, whether that's what we've got going on right now, anything we've done previously, or anything you'd like to see coming up in the future. You can also join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, where you can join our community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and of course, continue getting all of those updates. Hopefully it won't be too much longer here, but since we have the time and you have absolutely zero information, call the score line, Brody.
Oh,
Call the score line.
I said earlier today, I thought
He's going to sit on the fence here.
No, I'm not. You know, I wouldn't do that, unlike you, Ton. So I said earlier today, I thought the first series was going to go to a game 5. I do think this one is going to go to a game 5. I've got a feeling Nexus will take this 3-2. That's my guess. I think Nexus will take this one 3-2.
Ton?
I was going to go Nexus 3-1.
Oh.
I was very wow.
Wow. But is
right,
that
okay,
the bias
I'm gonna
of seeing them versus Horus?
Recency bias, absolutely. But at the same time, I think if Nexus is going to do it, they'll do it in 4. I think if we go to map number 5, I think we see Status Quo do it.
Wow.
Okay, I like this. I like this. I wasn't expecting either of those responses. So now I'm even more excited.
Should I ask the cat or
the cat might have some analysis for us.
Busy right now. Okay. Honestly, I actually think that she's been paying attention the whole time and probably knows more than you ever could, Todd.
Oh, right. There's many things.
Passively absorbing all of your information for years.
I mean, look, she has been stealing all the attention every single time I'm on camera. So you know what? Like, if she's been paying that much attention, then great. She's really cleaned herself there.
I feel like we need to bring more pets on for finals.
It's not intentional. I promise. She just sat there, but I'm all for it. If she wants to stay there during every other broadcast I'm on, it'll at least make me a little bit more interesting, which is always a win.
I love it. I love everybody at home. We appreciate your patience on waiting with us here as just a few more of our players are getting themselves prepared for the last match. We're only missing 2. Whoever those 2 are, though, we're going to remember your names from here on out. Forever and always, down to 1. They're going to be ready soon. Final thoughts before we jump in here, Brody?
This is going to be a good series. That's all I've got for it. I mean, I kind of knew going into today, obviously Challenge Finals is always fun, regardless of what region it's going to be. North America, I think in particular, is a super stacked region, right? So these teams, like post-roster shakeup, I think especially, you know, I think last season with season 4, right, it was a case of just like we kind of had expectations going in that Seminole were the team to beat, and it was a case with Rejects and Mayhem, you know, with the teams that kind of had to take them down. This season has been very different, and especially with the formatting, it's been a nice change of pace, I think, to see these teams face off against one another for the first time. That's what we're getting here in this matchup, and our expectations, I mean, sky high for a great matchup here.
Fun.
Yeah, I think I'd follow exactly the same kind of route. Is that this should be whatever we kind of expect in terms of the scoreline, should be a very good game on paper. And it's sometimes odd then when you do get these, this will be a banger series, whatever esport you watch, and then sometimes it can come out that one's team is just infinitely stronger. That's the thing that is the beauty of this one. Yeah, okay, we think it is going to be a good game just purely by the level of the players that are here. But if one of these teams came out and 3-0'd it, we'll be like, oh, okay, so they are really just that good. They are that much better. But I think, as you say, it has been quite nice in the sense of that we've done this format with 2 different groups, so we don't really know what the result of this one's going to be, and that is always a good position to be in.
And don't forget, everybody, every time we talk about these individual regions, it's within the microcosm that is the individual region, right? Like we've got NA as a powerhouse within itself, but when we get to that global stage and we're talking about World Championship, that's when things will really start to shake up. You heard Brody mention it earlier. We have that super team out of India. And if you remember last year as well, we even saw Godlike have a really strong performance, and that's not even counting any of the other regions. So what we see here and how good we think it is always can kind of fall apart when we get against some of those harder regions. So these teams can't rest after this season is done. After we finish these finals, that's then months of preparation going into the next stage of the competition, where there's $1 million on the line, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot that's going to go into the rest of this Call of Duty mobile year. So I hope that you guys are enjoying what we've got here going in NA. If this is exciting, my point, if this is what you're enjoying, just wait till we get to champs. All right. It's going to be a really good year, and it's been better year over year. So whatever we see this time around is going to be improved next season, next year of seasons. All right. Now that we're done talking about all of this, we got our players. They showed up. Everyone's phones are charged. Everybody's ready to go. The game's loading in. Let's jump into the final series.
I promise I'm smiling because we're getting into what is going to be a banger of a matchup. Status Quo versus Nexus. One of these two teams, Ton, is about to book their place in the grand final of the... I do this thing, you know, where you like to hype up as you get into the match, right? You like, you know, you get ready to go, and then it just all goes awry. Just sick. Also, I love you wearing your glasses like sunglasses there, mate. It's a good look.
I was taking them off so I could rub my eyes before we started getting into this one, and then of course that happened there as well. I can hear Lauren laughing at us in the background. Also,
she's not pleased right now.
Yeah, but look, I think, you know, for getting into this one, we should be there nice and early. I nearly got PTSD when we talked about the charging of the phones.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that again.
No, ideally not. I think it was a hell of a delay last year, if I remember rightly. Was it during the finals as well?
No, yes, it was.
It was a fun time.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we finished the NA side of things in Poland like 7 a.m. local time, didn't we?
Which we might get. Who knows? You know.
Okay, now that would be quite the series from here if that's to happen. Well, let's give it a go.
49, 6-5, it could happen.
Hard point identified.
I mean, it still would be quite influential if that did happen, but irrelevant of that. I mean, it's immediately a terrible grenade to kick things off a blow. Hopefully things go better for Status Quo from here on out, but it is a winner's bracket final. One more game to get to that grand final for both these two teams, and we are indeed kicking it off on Summit eventually.
Alrighty, it's time, folks. This time I can actually get hyped because we've got a game for you folks. Status Quo versus Nexus. One of these teams will be booking a place in the grand finals off the back of this very matchup. But again, we don't really know what to expect. We've seen both of these teams on fire today. Right now, at the start of this game, it is going to be Nexus currently in control to kick things off. Status Quo now looking for some kind of control. And, well, I don't think they're going to get it. Nexus, they're going to be in.
Anytime is good time over towards P1, but we have seen plenty of teams actually starting to get a little bit better at this one. When it does come down towards P1, Nexus was some really, really good time. And I am curious, you know, because Status Quo came out the blocks very, very slow up against Tribe and got smoked in map number 1. Hasn't necessarily been the best of starts. 40 seconds almost to their name. P2 and P3 is looking solid for them as well, although splits across the board, but good start for Nexus. They will take that one all day long.
Yeah, you'll be very happy with that if you're a Nexus ultimately, and that might actually get worse here for Status Quo too if they're not careful about how they want to play this one. Nexus are not only starting to reach in towards this hard point, but they're also starting to get the players on the board for the rotation towards New as well. Cartel's trying to escape there. Blur will not allow such a play. Nexus now looking for the time, and yeah, I mean, Status Quo I think so preoccupied with the players that Nexus are sending forward towards a potential rotation here that then actually would just get the players off the hill. Finally, as I say it, Recon and Shisu will combine for a couple of kills, and now Status Quo, they are now going to be in, but it's not going to last that long. Raph will fire back for a couple here, and Nexus are doing a really good job at taking away from Status Quo.
It's a great start from Nexus though. You keep this up, and all of a sudden this game could get out of hand, but Status Quo will have it in them to steady the ship on this one. But again, we talked about it last time, these slow starts, could they be punishing? It's looking that way so far. Nexus are dictating everything that has gone on in this game so far. Fantastic job from them. Equalizers out and just keeping that pressure off as P3 will start to pop here. Status Quo are going to start getting some operators shortly, but right now Nexus, the only ones with these superpowers, and it just makes it so much easier to hold down what is already relatively easy hold. I say that. Blur finds a couple. Potential break here for Status Quo.
Yeah, 60-point deficit between these two teams right now. Status Quo, you really do need to try and break this one from the front. You can hold this one from the front. Puedes has a lot to do, though, and he's immediately going to get overwhelmed here by the investment coming out from Nexus. Cartels with the War Machine will find some serious value, yet still, Status Quo here not entirely being dominated out of the hard point. As I say that, though, see 3 players combined for 3. Status Quo will be removed from this hill, and Ton, I mean, if they don't get this time, this has been a hell of a start for Nexus.
They're pushing pretty hard here as well for the scrap time, or were momentarily. They are going to go for the rotation now as well. So they give up the Ghost, but that is a hefty lead for Nexus. A nice hit going to come in for Raf at this stage as well. BP50 in his hands has been almost devastating, but Rehan could have done with finding maybe 1 or 2 more there. Will get shut down. Pressure starting to come in. Spawns towards the back here for Status Quo. You need to hold. You need to win some gunfights, and that's going to be just nothing found with the Purifier whatsoever. A little bit more investment coming through on the other side of things. Rehan's going to find something with the not just 1, not just 2, but 3 to shut it down. Jez the next on the chopping block. Can't quite find the shots, but just about keeps them at bay. A really good usage.
Yeah, this has been a solid hold so far for Nexus on the hold, though. Yeah, S-Thug and Raf will combine for, what is that, 5 between them? Now it most certainly is. Raf completely blows the play wide open with those 3 kills with the R9. And now, again, you're starting to face that point where I think Status Quo were, you know, back in map number 1 versus Tribe Gaming, back in their last series, right? Where Status Quo, you're down by about 50 to 60 points, and you're going to have to start getting a little bit desperate with the way in which you're approaching scrap time. And we know how that went for Status Quo in that series, Ton.
Yeah, if you're behind 30 or 40 points on a hard point, it really doesn't change the way you have to play it, but you start finding yourself this far behind. Raf starting to shoot bodies with 1 rotation in. Things start to get a little bit more scary. You cannot let Nexus just pick up free 20, 15 points of scrap time. You cannot let them get free 10 seconds over towards P1, but you are a step behind when it comes down to the operators. You are nearly 100 points behind when it comes down to the scoreline. It's becoming not quite do or die as Raf spins as well and finds just one of the easier kills he's going to get all day. The equalizer still with plenty left in it. The R9 is back out, and some good solid time from Nexus over towards P1. That deficit is well over 100 now.
Yeah, it keeps on getting worse here for Status Quo. I mean, I don't really know what's going wrong at this point in the game. They just can't seem to find the kills inside the hill. It's worth saying the player that they've subbed in for this series, Eshisu, is now rejoining the lineup this time around. He's now in. He's not really playing that well at this point. Maybe just taking a moment to actually get heated up in this game. Maybe if he does, maybe Status Quo will have a better go of things. But right now, it just doesn't seem like that's happening whatsoever. Recon with the QXR in the middle of the map is a bit of a peculiar choice of weaponry. We'll find a kill, but not any more than that. Status Quo need to get going now. You cannot give Nexus any more time.
At the same breath, though, Nexus have not let them breathe. Every single opportunity they have had to put the knife in, they have done, and it's getting deeper and deeper. Nexus now starting to run away with this one. This is a winner's bracket final. S-Thug is making it look silly. Have to back them down, and this is just, again, free time. S-Thug just does so well to keep them at bay. Cartels was just so influential in this last game. He's going to find another. Chasui gets taken down. You need to find something here for Status Quo. I think the small caveat you have, there's 20 seconds to play for here. If you can find that 20, find a full 60 at next, you're back into this game. But it's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes right now because Nexus are running this game.
You need to have this hold over by the next hard point. Currently speaking, you are in control of those back spawns. What you have to do is read where Nexus are going to come from. You know that Nexus is going to really hit this from this shed side. Got players towards the front. Investment. They had 1 operator ready to go in the back pocket. Rehan's going to be the player to get it done, but you're already losing gunfights around the front. Now Rehan needs to make the route through the middle of the map. Kings is not going to allow it. S-Thug now investing on the other side as well. This was a situation where Status Quo could not afford to lose rotation, and Nexus are fighting this one from the front for the last 25 seconds.
45 remaining on the hill as well. As you say, there's plenty of time left. Band and Co are going to have to invest quite a lot just for this time. They absolutely need it. Nexus could, well, they may well have one last little stab at it here, just to keep that pressure on, just to keep their spawns over towards that backside. Nexus actually going to get the spawns over towards the back, and they can still win it here, so the break will come through. Status Quo, you need to find a break back. You need to do it now.
Last 10 seconds, status quo, 3 players through the front. They're all being dealt with. Band will find one, though. Shisu ran backline.
Okay.
Able to take one player down. Shisu finds the double. And for status quo, they're going to hold on long enough here that we're going to see the next hard point, but you can't even really afford to give away this 6 seconds. They're definitely trying for it. Nexus flying through the backline. They'll manage to scalper a couple of seconds away. Nexus, just 6 points is all they require. Once again, we require status quo to not let Nexus even get a look at this hill.
Annihilator in hand from Kings, though. Nobody can show their face. He's just waiting for the moment to make something happen, but 3 of his teammates do fall. Kings will find one. Lines up a second. Change position. Doesn't find anything, but the rest of the team are there to maybe just about clean things up. Raffin from the other side. And there is the game. They keep them at bay in Nexus. As soon as he stepped on the throats of status quo, they never let up. Dominant map number 1, and Nexus come into this one absolutely screaming in the winners bracket final.
Yeah, you said that it was the game. For a second there, they do like step off the hill at the closing moments of the game. I'm like, are they actually going to finish this game off? But they do. They get back on the hill. Of course they do. In one of the most indomitable scorelines we've seen all this season, we promised a close series. I think we might have overpromised a little bit because status quo, once again, echoes of what happened in the first map of their series versus Tribe Gaming, where they just didn't really look that competitive. But this was to a worse degree. Like, Nexus were just in full control of pretty much every single hard point. It was only really at the start of the game where it felt like status quo were doing anything of note. But this point, this gulf between these two teams continued to grow to a size, I think, an absolute behemoth that Nexus, I mean, just had full control of pretty much consistently. Status quo never really in the conversation seriously in this game. Again, it has to be said, this is one of the biggest scoreline differentials between any two teams this season in North America in particular. So what a performance from Nexus. And it is one of those situations where, let's be frank about it, they did, for the most part, outslay aside from one player. I mean, fair play Band, he's playing out of his mind, but I mean, still.
Yeah, but I mean, how is somebody going 40 and 24 and you're losing by 130 points? That's a question that has to be asked. I know it's not all on one player, right? But if he's doing so many things right in that aspect, what's everybody else doing wrong? Questions to be raised potentially. I think you look, you can absolutely give Band his flowers, but 40 and 24, you lost by 130 points.
See, the thing is for me, right, I think, you know, because you look at it there and he's only got 17 seconds inside the hard point, and granted, right, I mean, there's only so many seconds you can get when you only got, what was it, 119 in the closing moments of the game. But still, I think it suggests that those kills aren't necessarily that useful in and around the hill, right? I mean, we always have this conversation, right, where, you know, a player will have stats that show them to be the best player on the team by far and away, but the team's not doing that well. And you know, why is that? Is it because the rest of the team isn't there for the slaying, or is it because the slaying is being done in areas where it's not actually that useful? And it maybe is one of those cases there where, look, Band did incredibly well, but the kills weren't actually doing that much to contribute to the side. So yeah, Band might well get over 40 kills, but it is not enough to stop what is, I mean, let's be clear about it. It was an onslaught from Nexus in map number 1. A hell of a statement to open up this series.
And I think as well, though, to maybe just temper their expectations on status quo, when we seen their first series of the day, of course, against Tribe, they, well, didn't quite get smoked that badly, but they did pretty much get comfortably beaten on map number 1 by Tribe, and then went on to win the next 3. So we cannot count them out by any stretch of the imagination. We will be heading into a search and destroy where they will be feeling confident. We're going to be going over towards Express for the first time today. It's still, though, for me, I think this is potentially the weakness of Nexus to a certain degree, I would say, as well, just based off what we've seen in their matchup against Horus. They made to really, really work for it. Whereas Horus was super patient, our status quo going to be patient in that sense as well. Well, it's Express, which means probably not, because B exists, and let's just have a 5-man headbutt over towards that site. Not going to happen this round, but it will definitely happen at some stage.
Or let's not say status quo. Much more comfortable with an A hit off the start of this round. Blair is going to take Kings, the only player that really had anything to say for Nexus on A control out of the round. Does status quo have a free bomb plant? Of course, this is one of those questions now to follow up. Do they actually recognize that the bomb is theirs for the taking? Got to get the bomb planter over there. And in how long they've taken to get this one going, Nexus have already kind of adapted well enough.
Blair will find the pick, though. Jess will get taken down, and again, are you going to offer yourself up here if you're Nexus? Trying to find a pick back. You do have the bodies here to stop this from happening, but that's a good gunfight win from Puertas. It's absolutely one he had to win. Look at this angle from Raf, though. Oh, there you go. Blair gets taken down. That bomb is going down, so it is going to have to be a 4v... will now be a 4 versus 1 retake for Raf to try and pull off. A whole lot of trouble. Yeah, not sure how that didn't kill him.
But it's not over yet. Ready
Yeah,
up.
the R9's a fickle thing sometimes. It's not nice. Regardless, it is not going to earn Raf a second gunfight in that round. Only the 1 kill is what they will get. Fair play to status quo.
Defend the objective.
Again, made that decision right off the rip to go straight towards A. Bit of a different decision from this round. A lot of pressure from the middle of the map here. We'll back up momentarily. It's a more delayed push towards A, but it is very much the same situation on the defensive look at the very least, because Kings once again is the only player they send on the immediate over towards A, and he is taken out of the play. First blooded twice in a row.
Status Quo just really don't like map 1. That's what I'm coming to decipher here, Brody. Big analyst players. Not very good map 1 team. Plenty of time to go here in the search and destroy, though. Rotating back round over towards the B side. Got one player there who is spotting things out. That was banned. He's now dead. The Status Quo were looking like they were going to rotate around, and they are now very much reconsidering.
Yeah, whether that reconsideration will actually mess up status quo in the situation is my question, right? Because they're thinking about this quite a lot. I will say Nexus aren't exactly doing anything that would endanger status quo in this round. I think the only player that could potentially do anything is Raf. Uncharacteristically, the sniper rifle in his hand. And even he, I think, have just got some bad COD timing. Quaidus has just seen him on the escape. Now we'll be going on the hunt for that kill. Status quo, it's go time. The bomb's going down.
Jess finds one back. Status Quo just second guessing themselves. That might be what hurts them in the end. Puertas will find one though. Surely gets taken down and does. Rehan will find one on the other side of things. It's now a 2 versus 2, but Blair's going to be the one that maybe makes the move here. He should catch Raf. He will catch Raf. Now all of a sudden, do they actually have a clue as where Cartels is? Yes, they do. How have they pulled that one out of the bag? Status Quo 2 to the good.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird round, I think. Much less certain than round number 1, that's for sure, where status quo
They have the bomb.
managed to decisively take control of A in round number 1. Round number 2 was a lot more of a 50-50, and they barely scraped by in the round. This round, traditional, straight over towards B we go. Majority of the gunfights initially run by Nexus. That's continuing towards the rest of the round as well. Banned in a 1 versus 3. My drop 40 in game number 1. He is not dropping a 1 versus 3 here in round number 3.
Seems as if that kind of gunfight, that kind of flurry at the start seems to suit Nexus, and I'd imagine Status Quo do not try that again. Slow and Methodical seems to have won the race, and they are going to try that again straight through the middle of the alley. Cartels and Co, they're going to be ready for this inside the ticket. Absolutely, they will be. Raf's going to find 1, Raf's going to find 2. This third on the Predators would have been insane. Kings is there to pick it up. 3 versus 2 in favor of Nexus. The numbers and bomb down is not ideal for Status Quo, who is now just Blair, left on his own in a 1 versus 3.
And they're going on the hunt for him. It's whether or not Blair's going to get some good timing in this situation. I think Nexus are actually just going to hold back here. There's no way, of course, they know, unless they line up for him, that Blair can take them out all at once. Of course, they're going to recognize they are going up against a sniper rifle. So they're just going to sit in and around the stairwell, wait for Blur to make the move and react accordingly. I don't think they necessarily know that the bomb is going to be down in the middle of the map. This is most definitely an attempt at a reactive play. And Blur is just going to have to check every single crevice on this map. He has no idea where any of these players are. I mean, he's certainly not going to expect this play from Nexus.
Surprised me, honestly, that Status Quo tried to go for that again, though. It's almost like the first 2 rounds, they were slow, they were methodical. You know, if those opening picks, then they'd use that information to try and get something going from there. 2 rounds in a row, they've headbutt down the alleyway next to the tracks, and they ain't worked either time. Mind you, not so much Blur does this. It's a great shot on the Kings, but just an impossible situation. And 2-2, just like that in the blink of an eye, Nexus tie this one up. Status quo's advantage disappears very, very quickly.
Defend the objective.
Yeah, and
So is the train going to slow them down as well? Yeah.
this train, man, we had this thing turned off in Black Ops 2 for a reason, guys.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. All right, well, regardless, yeah, you called it right, mate. Nexus making the best of a situation where status quo just double up on B, where the success had previously been at A. I think they now realize that themselves. It seems like it's going to be an A push, but I mean, again, calling things are not right today, mate. It feels like things have slowed down significantly for status quo. Off the back of that train, it's given cause for Nexus to push players further up in towards A. Raf has a lot to do, though.
Yeah, with the way that the train's coming in, it does affect the attacker down a little bit more. Slows them down. Hasn't stopped them getting there, though. Players on their way around. I think first blood's going to be super important here. But as he's shown himself and there's somebody going to start to make the move, it's Jez who finds it from the other side. And now Raf's going to start moving forward as well. And he's just so accurate with it. Rehan, tail between his legs, gets taken down. And that first blood may well be effective now. A 5 versus 3 in favor of Nexus. Blair doesn't hit the shot either. Gets backed on down. Shisui already dead. 5 versus 2. Sorry, 4 versus 1 now for Blair to try and pull off. He is picked out of mid-air, and Nexus 3 rounds in a row. Well, Brody, we promised them a good game here, and Nexus are bringing this one back very, very quickly. It's a close search and destroy, but if it keeps going this way, this one might be over sooner rather than later.
Yeah, great adaptation coming out from Nexus there. Something different in that round. Raf pushed up towards A. Now this one, status quo, deciding straight back towards B they go. Raf is the biggest problem, though. Over the top, he's able to find one elsewhere. Blur and Puedas will find kills, but Raf looking for more value. R9 not as accurate as he would like. Now 2 versus 3 for the last remaining Nexus players. They are finding the value, though. Somehow Cartels is able to swing from player to player, making it look so easy. And while status quo may have started off the search and destroy favorably, the last 4 rounds have been anything but.
Defend the objective.
Absolutely insane from Cartels again. Might be my favorite POV at the minute, to be honest with you. Ridiculous. Ban now going to push forward, and Nexus now onto the attacking side, and they can dictate what they want to do. And what they want to do is just go head to head over towards this B side. It's a great shot from Ban. Nelly found the second as well. The bomb is already down in 4v4. Can status quo retake?
Got the numbers to get it done. They have to hit at the same time, though, and I think there's just a little bit of timing miscommunication there. Status quo still an opportunity, though. She's going to double up, and what was a 2 versus 4 is now down to a 2 versus 2, even in the odds is Shisu. Jez, though, trades things out with the repositioning through the middle of the map. Knows where Puedas is, and, well, I mean, he makes the sniper rifle look like an R9, to be honest. It's a clean round coming through from Nexus.
Clean as you could possibly want.
Defend the objectives. The enemy has the bomb.
They are cruising in this series now, 2 rounds away. Status quo of 5-2. Oh my goodness me, Jez. We only got to see the back end of it, but Blur gets wiped away. I was about to say status quo of 5-2 down on Tunisia Search and Destroy up against Tribe, and they brought it back. This feels like a taller order. This feels like a step too far.
It's once again that same situation, though, for Nexus, right? They know what they've got to their advantage here. Kings gets first blooded, though. Big pick coming out from Puedas. The bomb might well be down, but status quo have something to work with elsewhere. Shisu decides to go a little bit early. Raf's going to punish him for it. Puedas in the middle of the map. If you can take player out of the middle of the train, it's big. There's a lot of 1 versus 1s going across the map here. Puedas is one of them. Recan another one. It's Nexus winning them for the vast majority of the gunfights. Just down a band. Yet another 1 versus X situation denied. And status quo just do not have an answer for Nexus.
Running absolute riot. And the defensive side was impressive, but on the attack, they can just absolutely dictate how they want to play this game. And status quo cannot live with them. B, once again, you can see they're backing up. You can see they don't want any of it. And Nexus want all of the smoke. They move forward. Blair will find 2. He's done so well to do so. Can he find a third? Blair is doing it all on his own. Eventually, will get taken down. It's 2 versus 3 in favor of status quo. This bomb needs to go down as well if you're Cartels, but do you just take your time if you're the defensive squad on this one? Or do you start to close the net? You have the number advantage.
Shisu might be able to get some bad timing here. Yeah. Yep, there it is. Doesn't look the right way before crossing the road. Cartels will run him over. Now there's 2 versus 3. Manageable. 2 versus 2. Band already down to 50% HP. Cartels is chasing this fight. You got to be careful if you're Cartels. With one, Band is going to get the hell out of dodge. He manages to escape, slipping through the fingers. And now there it is. Trading out from Band. Puedas almost goes down to Kings here. But again, Kings taking those shots and Puedas getting away is crucial. It means now that Puedas and Band can just play around this one. You know where Kings is and you're going to be able to overwhelm him. Status quo. Not done yet.
Not done yet. Need 4 rounds in a row, though.
Defend the objectives. They have the bomb.
Realistically speaking, well, you need 3. Nexus have felt in control of this game, irrelevant of that round going status quo's way. The tide is slowly moving in one direction, and that's towards Nexus finding themselves 2-0 up. On goes down over towards the B side. They found the first blood. On top of that as well, the site is under lock and key. Status quo will do so well to bring it back from here.
Especially as they now they've lost another player as well. Raf going to make things even worse for the last couple of players. Puedas and Shisu separated out. Need to see some heroic plays from these guys. Puedas might have penetrated the site. It's not going to get anything done beyond that. And for Shisu, it would be a phenomenal 1 versus 5. Good start. Even better continuation. 2 kills down, but there's not much time. There's only 10 seconds. Shisu quickly finds himself overwhelmed, and as do status quo on the whole. No bounce back here going into map number 2 as they're now 2-0 down.
My goodness as well. I mean, they're going into an Arsenal control, if I remember correctly, which we just seen from Nexus look absolutely flawless. Sensational performance from them so far. A little bit of a fault there towards the start. See, status quo were taking their time, and really the game changed for me when they changed up their plan on the attack. It almost felt like it was okay, yeah, you're going to try out some different kind of... You're going to roll the dice, right? You're going to try different things, but when it was slow, methodical play, working over towards the A site, that was working for you. To change up to a fast push over towards B, yeah, okay, fair enough. Didn't work whatsoever. Do it again, and you do it again. And what's the definition of insanity? I mean... Not quite that bad, but Nexus 7-3 comfortably. Status quo were not looking too bad, and I don't want to say they threw it away at all. Nexus absolutely deserved that one. 16-6 from Raf is a huge reason as to why they find that win as well. The 2-0 lead and a deserved one for Nexus. They are cruising in this upper bracket final.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned, I think about partway through that search and destroy as well. As soon as they realized that kind of solo sending Kings on defense towards B wasn't really working, they're like, well, hang on, what does work? Let's just send Raf towards lockers, and that's kind of his playground here on Express Search and Destroy. So kind of partially why he's able to get 16 kills. Of course, he also is very helpful when these teams butt heads over towards B, and Raf is frankly one of the best R9 players in the world. So you definitely want him on side. It was definitely a big reason why Next are able to take away the search and destroy. Now we move forward into a control as Nexus, I think, still flawless, and S&D off the back of that, they'll be feeling very, very confident.
Well, let's see how things do go down in map number 3. I mean, look, it almost did feel like recency bias when I was thinking about Nexus in this series. From what we just seen them do to Horus, admittedly, look, status quo, obviously coming into this one very, very cold. It was a cold map number 1. You're being kind of dealt with on Express, and now heads may be down. You're heading into a map number 3 on Arsenal. You need to turn this around. Nexus a 3-0 for them would just give them so much confidence in a grand final as well. Whoever you're going to go up against, if you get 3-0 the winners bracket final, you are in prime position to win the whole of Challenge Finals.
I mean, it's a statement, right? I mean, we were expecting a 3-2 victory. I mean, at least some kind of, at least game 4, I think is what you predicted, right? Not this. Nexus completely dominated this series thus far, and they are just one map away from booking a place in the grand finals. Can they get it done? Status quo now looking for a reverse sweep, and given how formidable they looked versus Tribe earlier on, I believe they're capable of it, but it has to start now, and this is a pretty good start.
Pushing their way through, trying to get something going. Stuck trying to get there as well. Can't find that second kill, and this is an important one that is going to be won by Raf once again. Pushing over towards A, starting to come to fruition now for status quo. And they find a way back through. The pre-nade from Raf is what kills Puedas, and all of a sudden status quo are going to struggle to get themselves back into that small choke point with Raf on the other side of it.
Slowly but surely. Now Nexus getting this capture through, and Status Quo will be asking how much do we want to invest into this. 1 second tick already gone. I think the point is chalk. Status Quo now starting to focus on a potential spawn trap. Trade's now going down, so now the 1 versus 1. A big kill for Kings to make. Hits the reload at the wrong time, though doesn't quite recognize where Shisu is gone. And now Shisu, an opportunity for a potential spawn trap. No, is going to get shut down. And to make matters worse as well, Nexus is starting this transition from point to point.
Status Quo maybe smell blood in the water when they've seen a couple of players who they had pushing up the map, and all of a sudden they go for the gunfights. They don't win them. Not a single one of them won it. And now your backs are immediately against the wall. Raf's pushing up to maybe get something going on a spawn trap of his own. Jez will find a couple. Paredes and Cole will eventually find an answer back, but Nexus have done quite a bit of damage here, Brody. 16 v 11 in the lives count.
Yeah, and I think as well, it affords Nexus quite a lot of time, right? They don't have to hit this one through the front if they don't want to. I think that's kind of what they're most certainly going to do. They've got opportunities, they've got time to take other routes on the map. Finally, Jez will find a response here. A couple of kills for Status Quo. Doesn't last all that long. It's a 3-for-1 trade towards the point. Recon trades things out for not just one, but a couple of kills. Status Quo, they hold for the moment.
I think Nexus will just have to slow things down here. They have no choice. Cartels will find one before it gets taken down. It feels like Nexus maybe got themselves a little bit overconfident, pushing forward. Now make it a 10 versus 5, and now this is very, very doable from this position. One more kill, no more respawns, and they're just going to start squeezing. You said they're going to have time, and Blair's going to invest here. That's a war machine. It feels like a desperate play. And is it going to be because Jez is behind them? He's found one. He's found Blair as well. It's a 7 versus 3. The investment, is it going to matter for anything now? 3 people to try and hold this down. 2 people to try and hold this down. And for Band and Rehan, this is just such an impossible task.
Yeah, now most certainly for Rehan, this one it is done and dusted. He's trying desperately to hold him towards a point, but Nexus overwhelmed on offense nonetheless, and they did it without a spawn trap. Really well played, I just think, from Nexus. They win those opening engagements over by A. And it's just a very quick, I think, transition over towards B as well. Status Quo never really able to get any sort of map control, especially in terms of getting those guys away from their spawn. But still, great start from Nexus. Exactly what you wanted. You come into this round with a hell of a lot of operators ready to go. You're already starting to see a couple coming out from Cartels. The Claw as well, also there from Band. What can you get with it? Cartels will find one finally with the War Machine, but it's 3 kills coming through from Blur. Posthumous kill from Cartels as well, who finally gets cut down by Puedas. Is that enough of an investment from Nexus off the start to keep them in the point? Kings trying to find the kill versus Shisu will not be able to.
Oh, here we go. A bit of a push over towards B. Rehan with some really good shots. Honestly, I think for the side of Status Quo, that's as good of a start as you possibly could have wanted. Some investment coming through from Nexus, although not a whole lot. And you answer back very, very easily without anything really of your own. You would have liked to probably have the War Machine. It would have made that look a little bit cleaner, but it is already captured. And it's a fantastic start for Status Quo on this attacking side. Have a slight life advantage, but you cannot let things slip when Cartels is sneaking around your spawn. You've got to be looking out for him. He's going to start finessing. He can find 2 before he eventually does go down. One player has potentially slipped the net here as well. Band is now pushed up. Raf could do with finding him. 2 big kills coming in from Band.
And this is going to turn the attention of Nexus. Again, giving Status Quo yet another in towards B if they want it. Look at the positioning from Status Quo as well. They're not doing this one through the front. They're going to basically fork it around the flank here. Nexus have set themselves up for an inevitable spawn trap. And Status Quo taking the most unconventional of routes. Yep, Kings is never going to respect Puedas in that position. And now this is going to make Nexus double guess what on earth is happening here across the entirety of the map. Elsewhere, Band able to take down Raf. Rehan, with the investment of the Annihilator. All of the kills are going Status Quo's way. And here comes that pit in behind.
Oh, I mean, it's just so difficult to deal with. Status Quo played this absolutely wonderfully. One player coming back in from the flank. That is going to be Estogi. He's going to find one. Jez will find another. Nobody's really on the spawn trap here for the side of Status Quo. It's a big win coming through from Blair. Jez will find one back, so a little bit of stability, but a 15 versus 8 with a minute to go. Kings is going to invest the Annihilator here, so Nexus are committing for this round. This one's not done. They've cleared out their spawn. 14 v 8. Status Quo still do have time to try and articulate a push from a couple of different angles. It doesn't have to be just a headbutt down the B street. So the time is there. The lives have dwindled, though. And dwindling further.
There's only a 9 versus 8 right now. 30 seconds on the clock. You've just got to rely on one kind of play.
Such a hard gunfight.
All of these guys. Yep, finally going to get taken off. Look at player number 5 down on the other side. Status Quo have a hero of their own. Recon in behind enemy lines. What can he get done? On the other side, Estug will produce 2. Recon is going to find 1, but Estug finding those 3 kills. And now Raf bringing the hammer down on the players on the spawn. I think really it's not going to matter what Recon is able to do. It's all down to Band in this situation. 1 versus 4 will not even be able to find the first kill. Nexus now 2-0 up in this series, 2-0 up in this control. Just 1 control round away.
And it's just wonderful play by the side of Nexus. I think it was in the end Estug who found the push around, found a little bit of room, and just knows when to pull the trigger on the equalizer coming on through. They are 1 round away now. Bandico need to find something in this round of control, and it's a good start for them. Couple of kills going to fall their way. Not just a couple, make it 4. And all of a sudden, you have to be careful not to get forced into your spawn here. If you are Nexus, Status Quo popping everything. They want to force this round.
Status Quo, this is a big investment coming out from them. You know how important getting map control early on in these rounds are. Just burning a lot of time off the clock and getting map control as well. Nexus are really feeling the heat at the moment here in this round. Status Quo not giving them a lot of options. Nice push coming through from Recon as well. Status Quo not only in control of the map, but they're also really starting to think about, hey, what can we do to try and get those spawn traps working? But Raph will start to put a puncture in the defense here with that first kill. Esfuck going to follow up another one as well. Nexus are starting to do some damage here to this spawn trap. They've got options as to how to play out this round.
The push towards B may well just be the distraction that opens up the door towards A. This is a big gunfight. He doesn't need to take it because Jazz has found the flank, so A wide open, B being worked on. Estug has found 2 all on his own down that side. Attracts the attention, and now the pressure can come through over towards A. It's just absolutely clinical from Nexus now. If they can continue to work like this, A pressure is there. There's 1 player who's potentially on the flank here. If Pradas doesn't find a kill right now, he needed to find it. He absolutely did, and does so. A push still there though. Nexus still keeping this pressure on, but some of that pressure has been just about eased.
I think A is about to go regardless of what happens here. Status Quo know it as well. So Nexus already 1 to go for by B. 80 seconds or so on the clock here to make this work. Status Quo trying to come in from behind of these Nexus players, catch them off guard on the transition over towards the point. Puedas ready for the push from behind enemy lines. He's going to only find 1, but elsewhere, Nexus are finding value here, Ton. They've removed Status Quo from that potential spawn trap that they wanted to put together. Puedas was on the hunt for cartels there. A big fight to take in your favor. Status Quo still currently down in the lives by 1. Keep an eye on player number 4 on your minimap as Nexus now really looking to get that player to do something, especially as Band find those kills.
Yeah, Jez is only useful if his teammates find some kills though. And they haven't been able to do that for quite some time. And now all of a sudden they're going to be forced back into their spawn. 12 versus 9. This is doable for Status Quo. Just a couple of kills here for Nexus would really help them out, because then all of a sudden the spawn trap will potentially be set up as 1 player from behind is Jez. He can find 1. He jumps on the point. He stops the time. The gunfights are starting to be won, and maybe the pieces are starting to fit together once again here for Nexus. Big kills coming through from Status Quo though, and still Jez all on his own.
Look at Raph though. Spawn trap. Status Quo have read this one. How are they going to fall foul to it is the question. Raph finds 1. Shots coming out from Band is going to reveal his position, but it doesn't matter. Raph is done and dusted. Nexus now down to the final 3 players. Puedas from the front of the point will double up. Leave just Estug and Jez isolated. 25 seconds to make this happen. To get it done here. It would be a phenomenal play if they could. You're having to do this all the way through the front of the point as well. There's no tricks up your sleeve. You've got to be honest about it. And Estug just looking back and forth for any free gunnies. Here we go. Players towards the point. Jez finds the first, but Blur will double up. Status Quo refusing to die. Still got some fight left in them.
They're in this game. They have 5 operators available. And they're on the attacking side. This is going to be a headbutt over towards the A side, and it is a fight they are surely going to win. Here come the operators. Which way is it going to play out? They're firing everything away. They can find 1 with Band, and this is kind of what opened up things in the previous round. Blur will find 2 of his own. Cartels can answer backdoor, as can Estug. So important kills coming through from Nexus. Cartels, Kings finding a few more. That's a big gunfight for Blur to win. Absolutely needed to. Can now start to ease some of the pressure. He might just ease it a little bit more. Doesn't find anything with that. So now all of a sudden, Nexus can potentially push out here. Not necessarily the start of the round that Status Quo wanted.
Yeah, especially off the back of that investment, you really need something from that. And
everything.
Yeah, Nexus have now just won every single gunfight as well. Status Quo in danger here in this situation. 50 seconds on the clock. Kings picking up Rehan. The kills still going in favor for Nexus, and now the spawn trap gunfights as well. Status Quo, I mean, look, even if you die in this situation, you're burning time off the clock, right?
That's perfectly fine for the side of Nexus. There was an investment of 4 separate operators for Status Quo, and yeah, okay, they may have made inroads now, but it could have been a lot cleaner than it ended up being. Kings are going to need a little bit of backup here, and I wonder if A is just going to be given up here by Raf. He's been phenomenal, but Perez bringing in the equalizer may well just deter them from finding this push. Cartels can find one, and that could tempt them, but it's just going to be about pushing out the B Street here. You can imagine operators starting to come up for Nexus now. The push towards the spawn trap may well be on the cards, but S-Dog, he's actually going to manage to find 2 here in the middle of the map over towards the A side. Raf can find 1 on the flank, so there's 2 players there, but they're just probably going to continue with the spawn trap lock. 13 versus 13, A is gone, the time will be extended. It's a strange old game now.
That's a big call coming through from Raf at least.
Spawn trap.
Information, spawn trap potential here on the other side. Yeah, you can see it on the minimap. Jez is getting ready to take these guys down. Jez is going to find those kills, and yeah, it's the investment coming out. If it's not the equalizer, it's going to be the claw. Jez is getting this one done. He's going to finally go down with the hand of ban. Is that enough damage done, though? 3 life differential now. Now make it 4 as S-Thug takes down Puedas, and now just down to the final 5 lives of Status Quo. It is all or nothing, do or die. You have to make sure you survive this.
He has to survive here, Shisui. He just absolutely needs to stay alive. They channel him together. They take him down. And there was the map presence. There was the pressure that you had. And now it has to be everything and the kitchen sink through the front door for Status Quo. You have to go in a 4 versus 8. You have to make something happen.
Status Quo putting a player in behind enemy lines. Rehunt. They've got a little bit of time. You've also got to be careful about players making routes from Nexus. One of those ones is Cartels. Yes, he finds the kill. That's Kings down for the count. Cartels for the double in behind enemy lines. There goes Puedas. Now it is all down to Recan. 1 versus 6. Not even going to be able to get the player off the spawn. And Nexus with a clean 3-0 will be in the grand finals of Season 5.
Oh, we promised a good game. What we actually ended up getting was Nexus putting on a clinic over the entirety of that series. Hardpoint dominant, S&D comfortable, Control the same story. Fantastic performance from Nexus. Status Quo with a lot of work to do if they want to get back to that grand final with an opportunity to beat Nexus, because that was dominant. And it just sort of gives us that indication. Nexus are truly the real deal. And Status Quo, well, we didn't really get a good example from them over their group stages, over that side of things, whether or not they were going to be at the very top of that mountain. But my word, Nexus proved that point, and that is, as we spoke about when they were 2-0 up, a 3-0 win be a statement very much made.
And it should be said as well, right? I mean, these games, they're not just being won by Nexus. This wasn't just a bog standard 3-0. This was a 3-0 emboldened, capitalized. I mean, it was a dominant showing across pretty much every single map in this series. And I mean, I don't even know what to say. Nexus just totally dominated them. They showed up to play. And if you're talking like what now, power ranking, the top 3 teams as it were, right? I mean, obviously Horus could still be in that conversation. We don't know. It feels like Nexus are definitively the #1 team going into the final day of competition.
That was great. That was great. I mean, you guys mentioned it, obviously, quite a few times. We were talking about it heading into that series. There were different situations in each group and different scenarios that got our teams to where they are in this stage of the competition. And we've not gotten a chance to see these two face off. And there were lots of unknown factors, and Nexus put all of those to bed by absolutely dominating that upper bracket final and putting themselves in grand finals in a decisive 3-0 fashion. Like you guys see here reflected in the bracket, though, that means that Status Quo will drop down to that lower bracket final, and they'll face off against whoever wins that Tribe Oris Esports matchup. So that will be that means status quo's one match away from still getting that second spot in the grand finals. We might see a rematch of this exact series, Brody.
Yeah, we could, and honestly, it feels so weird just looking at this being a 3-0, right? I don't necessarily think that it would happen again tomorrow. At least I hope not. I think for status quo, they'll be walking away looking at this like, look, what went wrong in this series? Because the way in which they played versus Tribe with the confidence and vigor, albeit it feels like Tribe a very different roster this season and caliber to Nexus, it wasn't there in this matchup. And I think tomorrow, if they do end up getting this rematch, I think things will be at least somewhat different. I hope at least they'll be somewhat competitive, because no one wants a 4-0 grand finals, right?
Ton, give me your thoughts on what we saw here today.
What we seen is Nexus put on a clinic and show that they are absolutely the team to beat. I think realistically, I wonder if coming in against Horus and finding that really nice win up against them would have helped as well, especially with the start, and have maybe, I mean, I'm not going to make any excuses whatsoever for status quo here, but realistically, they came in very, very cold. Didn't look great in the set. Well, you know what? They looked okay in the first couple of rounds of Search and Destroy, changed their plan up. It didn't work out for them. And then, of course, they get to a map number 3, and you're going into what seems like a fantastic map for Nexus. Maybe the stars didn't align for them today. I'm still very hopeful that we have something a little bit closer, but that is Nexus firmly putting their foot down and saying, yeah, okay, we're the team to beat. Try and do that over 7. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what our teams can manage overnight, right? Not a lot of time to really work on anything or change up any game plans that have already been set in motion, but either way, it'll be an exciting way to close out our North American season regardless. Now, if you're wondering how all that's going to play out, you saw that in the bracket there. First match of the day will be Tribe Gaming versus Oris Esports. Whoever wins that match will then face off against Status Quo, and whoever wins that match will then face off against Nexus. And like we heard Brody saying, once we make our way through to that grand final, it's no longer best of 5s. It is a best of 7 to close out the day. So a little bit longer series there, more opportunity for our teams to put in that work. If you're unable to make it though, or if you just want to keep up with what we've got going on after the season or catch up on anything that's already happened, just follow us on social media, whether that's X, Insta, or Facebook. That way you won't miss a single second of anything we've got going on here in our Snapdragon Pro Series. Or you can join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series to join our community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and of course continue to get all of those updates. But that means that Nexus are the first team to claim their spot in our grand finals after our day 1 matches are all said and done. And now they'll just be waiting to see who they face off against for the title of the best in the region. Like you saw, the rest of our teams will fight again tomorrow to make their way back through that lower bracket to try to be the last one standing to face off in the end. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow at the exact same time to see how it all plays out. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force for helping us make this whole thing possible. And thank you to all of you at home for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, DHL, and the United States Air Force.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!